so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I don't even know how that happened, but a tip came in the middle of Trump, and I could hear it. I couldn't tell if you guys could hear it or not, but I just had to go live. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Astrolabe. I'm here trying to get YouTube to connect with Lumia Stream here, so we can bring the YouTube patriots in from the cold and get them added into the party here. All right, that should have done it. Hopefully, let's see. Gotta close a bunch of windows here. Man, the White House is Q posting. What the hell is going on? I've been sitting here trying to convince myself to do a show, and just kind of like, and I don't know. I got it late enough that I just decided to open a beer, because it's if it was 10 o'clock in the morning, I might feel a little bit bad about opening a beer, but not at 1:45 in the afternoon. Then let's go. That pre-show was incredible. The cyberbully is a patriot. Only on EWBSX could you get Jay Dyer doing a Funko Pop song, Father Peter Hears, Pine Tree Riots, rounded off by Pantera. I need to take record the pre-shows and then just publish the pre-shows as like a standalone thing. Like, this is just a little segment, a little excerpt of what you could get. Living Dead says CB was on a tear. Yeah, a tall ass beer. Yeah. We do the tall ones here. This is a Voodoo Ranger Fruit Force Fruit Punch IPA. We're getting our fruity on today, and it's pretty good. It's not bad. It kind of just tastes like an IPA. Nevsky says, if you like Guinness, you got to try Real Ales out of Blanco, Texas. I have spent some time in Blanco. Russian Imperial Stout. Well, I do not like Guinness. But you know what? It's been a long time. It's been a very long time since I actually tried one of those thicker, heavier beers. So maybe I'll give it a try again. Maybe I'll give it a try and see what I think. Perhaps I could do that this Thursday, because I will be in Fort Worth meeting up with a handful of you guys. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you will be there on Thursday. I'm probably going to be getting up there around 4 or 5 p.m. About as early as I can make it. Got to rent a car, drive up there. I'm just going to do the drive up, hang out with you guys for several hours, and then turn around and drive back. So we will be in the Fort Worth area. I'll give you like an exact location. If you just shoot me an email, realkingpilled@gmail.com, or DM me at kingpilled on X, then I'll give you the exact location. It'll be somewhere kind of around downtown Fort Worth. I'm going to be crashing Tom Luongo's little subscriber meetup there. So I let him know that I was gonna swing by and perhaps would have some guys with me. So so he just released the actual location. I'll just tell the people, if you're one of his subscribers, you could go join his Patreon and you could go get the go to the Slack server and get the details yourself. Or if you're coming up there to meet up with me, then I'll let you know where I will be meeting with him. And be good to see you. Lord Breezy, yeah. Dallas and Fort Worth are polar opposites, happen to be next to each other. It's funny, I don't think I've ever actually been to Fort Worth. I've been to Dallas a couple of times, but I don't think I've actually been to Fort Worth. I think this will be the first time. So I'll be crashing in, seeing probably one small little location in the downtown area, and then heading back home. Okay, man. Did you guys hear that alert that was coming through? Was that actually playing for you guys when I was like, when Trump's we're gonna win so much, you're gonna get tired of winning? As soon as I hit, no, you couldn't. Okay. I was hoping maybe. Well, it was $88, an $88 alert from 7%er. Let me try and well, there's nothing else in the queue here. Let me try to replay it and see if it comes through this time. Okay, I see. It says that so you guys you could see the Stephen Miller behind me, right? But you couldn't hear you could hear the money counter. This is the most bizarre thing. I can't even begin to. It showed that there was no audio coming through. So I don't know how you were getting some, but not the other. But then some of you were saying you could hear the money counter, but you couldn't hear the song. That wouldn't make. How would it be? You heard the money. Okay, so you heard the money counter. Money go burr only. Okay, so the other thing's not coming through. Okay, well that makes more sense. If some of you were hearing something and others were not hearing anything, then I would really have no idea what's going on. Because then there would be like something like AI device specific that was like blocking a certain sound or something like that. Okay, you guys had me tripping out there for a second. All right, there's another change that I have to make, but it's going to take me a little bit of time to do. So, and then sometimes it just seems like it randomly works later on as well. So. Maybe you guys just keep testing it out. Maybe that's what we need to do. You guys just keep sending in tips of various different dollar amounts, and we test and see what happens as it goes. Also, I did start a goal over on YouTube, and it wants me to say like what I'll do when I complete the goal. And so far, there's only been like 1 or 2 tips a day or super chats a day toward the goal. So maybe let's see if we can actually accomplish the goal, and then we'll talk about what we'll do. Most likely what I'm going to do is start another goal. A little spoiler alert. But okay, so apparently I had some stuff ready to go here, but apparently the White House is Q posting now, and this is yes. Thank you, Mr. President. This is precisely what the Astrolabe needs. The Astrolabe needs more White House Q posting. This is the first one that I got. For crying out loud. Our power went out the other day, and hang on a second. Hang on. Our power went out the other day, and it reset a whole bunch of stuff. So now I have to reset a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't realize that I was going to need to reset this particular thing. All right, there we go. So now we've got our window here. Let's pull this out like this. Oh my God. Way off the bottom of the screen, so I can't move things around like I want to. Here we go. All right. So they tweeted this. The White House will be Q posting today. What does this mean? I have no idea. Big, long scroll down. And by Q, we mean quantum. Stay tuned. Quantum. I already saw someone counting the spaces in this post to connect it to a drop. What a patriot. What an absolute patriot. If someone out there, this is exactly how they should be thinking. There's a whole bunch of spaces that were put in here. You need to find out how many spaces. And then you need to go to one of the websites. This actually wouldn't be that difficult, just a basic word processor. Just copy and paste and count up the spaces. Go to one of the websites that holds all of the different drops and look for numbers that are significant. Look for deltas. Look for anything that corresponds to that number. This is like modern day reading the entrails on the dead dog or something like that. This is how we understand what is to come to pass. Because, frankly, this method seems to work as well as any other. These guys, the stuff that they've been on, that they've been predicting, the trends and the patterns that they've been forecasting, They've been about as reliable as any other pundit. And they just so happen to be enormous truthsters. So, you know what? Call me a QAnon fan. I'm unashamed. I love the Q people. Then the Department of War CTO, is this counterterrorism? Is that what that is? Office, the Undersecretary of War for Research and Engineering. Are you enjoying the show? Refill your popcorn. You'll love this next part. American quantum dominance. Yes, please. Please, government, give me this stuff. Give me government accounts delivering breaking news to me, new initiatives that they're undertaking in the format of Q posts. At least make my news interesting. Georgie P. tagged me in. I hadn't even seen this tweet yet. He says, I think we need another Schizo Q session at the Lab. Maybe we do. I don't know. I have that one documentary that I've gone through that I've watched that kind of convinced me that there was something to it. And then, I don't know. You might call me like a casual. I'm like casual with a Q. Someone spell that out in the chat for me. Casual with a Q. That's me. Matt the Casual. There's Georgie P. So I don't know. I need to find some big repository. I need to find someone who's working on these theories. You know, one place, Badlands Media, has some good schizo, Q trusting, plan trusting, posting and Patriots over there. But there's also some kind of wonky stuff. So, but there you go. There's one possibility. Badlands Media. Surf in the chat or in the replies here. Living Dead. Look at the Patriot. Ashton Forbes. This is my favorite kind of politics. Jeff Accordion, Patriot spotted. I know like every single one of the people in these replies. And then there's this one. Literally. This is going to make all the most fun-hating people in the world get really, really cranky. They're all going to... I could just read the tweets now about how this is unprofessional and unbecoming and bread and circuses and slop. Give me more, Mr. President! Give me more! America will be the world's leader in quantum technologies because America will be the world's leader in everything. Make America great again. Brian Cates. Oh, this is so good. Timestamp is 1425. Trust the plan. Okay, what do we got here? Q drop 1425. There's a Trump tweet. I hereby demand and will do so officially tomorrow that the Department of Justice look into whether or not the FBI and DOJ infiltrated or surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes, and if any such demands or requests were made by people within the Obama administration. And Q says, follow the pen. Think timing. Coincidence? The attacks will only get worse. They are losing all control. Q. So true! It continues to be true. Given we have now undeniably on purpose verified ourselves to be an inside source, expect the MSM, clown army, so true, to attack in full cooperation with foreign and domestic assets. Be prepared, trust the plan, conspiracy no more. We are in full control. Pain! Pain to my enemies! Give it to me, Mr. President. Put my enemies through the pain. Everyone who experiences pain identifies themselves as an enemy. I approve this message. Oh, the Q crystal with the Q plus. Real ones, no. It's go time. Patriots activate. Code word Ronald McDonald.
Good afternoon, Patriots. This is Agent Q.
Yes! Oh, this is so good. And someone said, was there more? Has there been more since then? This is a guaranteed way to make sure that people pay attention to whatever it is that you're going to talk about. Always trust. Okay, so apparently there isn't. That's all the Q posting that we've gotten thus far. Cubits in control. So true, Ethan Klein. You may think you've never seen a patriot before. You may think you don't know what a patriot looks like. This is what a patriot looks like. Ethan Klein, one of our greatest patriots. I literally just read this tweet, and this is the first time I learned his name. But based entirely on this tweet, I know this man is a patriot. He is loyal to my president. Cubits in control. He does look like that one guy that smoked all the cartel dudes. That's true. Oh, man. What a day. What a day. I was kind of looking at stuff this morning. I was like, there's this thing with J.D. Vance and Iran, but I'm tired of talking about Iran. Or Iran, sorry. I'm tired of talking about Iran. And then right when I'm about to go live, suddenly everything takes off. We are getting legitimate Q posting from the Trump administration. Straight Buster says, imagine telling yourself from a year ago the admin would actually unironically 100% Q post on Maine from government profiles. Seriously. And it's not just that it's not just the Q posting itself. It's what that indicates. What the Q thing has always stood for. And those who didn't just simply write it off, actually looked at what it was indicating, know that this sort of signaling from the government is a strong indicator. This is a way of demonstrating alignment in a way that they don't need to do. Because you might look at this and you might say, "Oh, this is them like low hanging fruit or something like that." No, they're going to give themselves all sorts of grief because of them choosing to go about it this way. There's going to be all sorts of people pearl clutching and crying and complaining about it. But so this isn't like them doing some sort of meaningless, low hanging fruit, all noise and no substance sort of gesture. Because they know full well that this is actually inviting all sorts of scrutiny. This is actually raising all these sorts of red flags. But they're doing it for a reason. Because it's worth it. Politically Catholic said, is the tip animation reading music thing working today? Very good question. I suspect that you will hear some of it and see all of it. But it literally is just like a shot in the dark every single time. Never know what to expect. Hold on just a sec here. Let me make sure this is here. And this is the thing I want. Right here. And come over here. And then save and save. Exit. Okay. All right. What was the? Oh, okay. Now we have the stuff that I was actually planning on talking about. In honor of yesterday being Father's Day, Amy and Eastwood and I celebrated Father's Day at in the evening at IKEA. We went to IKEA. We walked around, got a couple of things, sat down, and had some, frankly, pretty mediocre food. I remember IKEA food used to be pretty good. It used to be like a fun experience, and it was just it was fine. It was all right. It wasn't particularly cheap. That was kind of the thing, is like you could go get some like cheap, simple food that was actually tasty, but that has changed. But it was fine. But then we walked around IKEA and did some thinking and talking and grabbed a couple of little things that Amy needed for organizational purposes. It's following Eastwood around, trying to keep the house in some semblance of order is a full-time job. So she's trying to outsource some of the organization too. Some special little custom bends and stuff. But anyway, so in honor of Father's Day, Dear Blind Dad Jokes.
What do you call a spider with 10 eyes? A spider. Where do you take someone who's been injured in a peekaboo accident? The ICU. You ever heard of Murphy's Law? Have you heard of Cole's Law? It's thinly sliced cabbage with salad dressing. Have you heard of the new sport called quiet tennis? It's like normal tennis, but without the racket.
Just listening to them trying to get the joke out.
What did they call the Terminator once he retired? The Exterminator.
I need to play this for Eastwood.
What has 5 toes but isn't your foot? My foot.
Yeah, the whispers make it so much better.
Oh, we're not editing that out. Why can't you hear a pterodactyl go into the bathroom? I don't know. Because the P is silent. Where do cows go camping? Upstate New York.
Oh, man. Okay. And you know what? It's been too long. It is time. We must ethno-guesser. Let's go. Today's game. Whoa. That's interesting. The Ko-fi page just reloaded and said that they're experiencing a lot of traffic right now. Hopefully it's everyone who loved all those dad jokes just streaming in to pay some white pill prescription fees. Okay, let me get this a little bit larger here so we can see what's going on. Today's game. All right, hbd.gg. If you guys haven't played ethno-guesser, you're missing out. This is great fun. This also looks like this is I'll be fine. All right, so first one. Let's see. Let me zoom this in a little bit so you guys can see. Now, give me your guesses. Thank you for the kicks, Emperor Atreides and Pale Morning Dude. Appreciate you guys. Pacific Island people. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what I was thinking. Pacific Island for sure. Laos. So Southeast Asian. Neanderthal Island, Mumbai. Genghis Khan, the IKEA meatballs were pretty good. Yeah, the meatballs with the lingonberry jam was pretty good. Pretty decent. Papua New Guinea. Yeah, Colin Rosh. Papua New Guinea. That's what I was thinking. Let's see. I got to come up here. Ooh. Not too bad. Not too bad. We were close. We should get more credit than that. 1690. All right, so this is the easternmost vetted type, usually shorter skulled. We're skull measuring today, boys. The oldest living type of the Sunda Islands, more widespread in historic times and probably pushed back by South Mongolids. Diluted today in its purest form in the Tawala of Celebes, where it occurs in Tokea and Loinang as well. Yeah, I don't know any of those words. None of those words have to matter to me because I'm American. So basically Indonesia. It's an Indonesian type. It's interesting. I was thinking that I had a Philippines thought when I saw when I saw his face. There's a little bit of the Philippines in him. Sounds like a mythological creature, yeah. All right. I've seen this one. I've seen this one quite a few times, but I can never remember. Because it smacks strongly to me of two different distinct places. Living Dead says Slavs. Yeah. Belarus. Yeah, Eastern Europe. Serbia. Gypsies. Yeah. Yeah, Belarus is the area that, like, every time I see them, I have this same conversation with myself. Like, I see them and I think, oh, like Belarus, maybe Ukraine, maybe Poles a little bit. But it also looks very much like some of the like native English phenotypes as well. So let's say Belarus. Yes, okay, good. So I always get this one right. The Gorid type. East Alpinid variety named after the Polish word for mountain. Metrically intermediate between West Alpinid and East Europid. The nucleus of the type lies in southern Poland. Gorids are also important in Czechs, Slovaks, Serbs, Albanians, northern Bulgarians, Hungarians, Romanians, West Ukrainians, and their neighbors. The most Slavic woman ever, yeah. Yeah, this is squarely in the middle of, it stretches down here into Bulgaria and even Albania, northern Macedonia, and then reaches out as far as like middle of Germany or most of Germany. Yeah, so that was a bullseye, 5,000. Seen this one quite a few times as well. This is a particular African type, if I'm recalling correctly. Skrudovnevsky, yeah, South Africa. South Africa is what I was remembering. This is another one of those that I've seen a few times and I can never remember exactly where it is, but I'm thinking South Africa. Yeah, it looks like young Nelson Mandela. Yep, there we go. Another bullseye. The Kalahari type. So it's Botswana, Rhodesia, Angola. Man, why can't I want to zoom in just once, not twice. Stupid thing. Namibia. All right, so we're doing well. We're doing good today. Eeh!
What is that?
Look at that nose. That's a really unique nose profile. On the one of the, like, I can't tell which one's supposed to be the man and which one's supposed to be the woman. I think, is this masculine? Yeah, man's usually on the left. Look at that. Look at that nose. That's one on the right looks like an elf. Yeah, who's supposed to be a woman here? They're exactly like us, guys. I have not the foggiest idea. I mean, as dark as they are, I would assume African of some type, but I don't even have the faintest clue. Chicago, that's Lori Lightfoot. Sierra Leone, Eastern Africa. I'm about as close as you guys. Let's say the darker, I want to say somewhere like in the Congo, maybe? Yeah, Congo. Let's just go with that. This is one I've never seen before. Jeez. Not even close. Almost extinct, isolated type, endemic to the Andaman Islands. The Andaman Islands. Over off the coast of, like, Myanmar. Thailand. After contact with Europeans in the 19th century, the population collapsed, mostly due to disease. Only about a dozen great Andamanese remain today. Several of them are mixed. Brown, blackish skin, kinky or peppercorn hair, very short. Males 147 centimeters. How tall is 147 centimeters? I can't math that quickly in my head. Divided by 2.54 times... Whoops. I want centimeters to feet. 4 feet 8 inches. Wow, they're tiny. Ectomorph body proportions show no sign of pygmyism. So they're not pygmies. They're just really short. Face shows several caucasiform traits. Chin weak, prognathy mild. Wow. See, this is why we play Ethno-Guesser, so we can learn things. Like today I learned that what was it called? The North Andamanid was a thing. What did Nevsky say? Holy shit, you called it? Andaman Islands. Damn. How the hell did you know that? You called that immediately. I should have been paying attention. I wouldn't have even known where to click for the Andaman Islands. This is incredible, incredible racism. Damn, we got a professional racist in the chat. I thought I was good. Okay, this is one that I've seen. All hail King Racism. Yeah. Nevsky is officially dubbed King Racism.
The N-word.
Baltimore. Atlanta. Yeah, this does look like Atlanta. Ghana. Yeah, we got the best ethno-guessers. Come on. Zoom out. All right, so we've got a guess for Ghana, Northeastern Africa. I want them Ghana for my country. I'm going to say Nigeria. Boom. Sudanid and Guinnessid, common in West Africa. Although it's just a contact type, it is sometimes separated from the two main varieties because it's very numerous and the dominant element in many ethnic groups. Just a contact type. It's like a viral contagion or something that if you like go nearby, you'll catch it. You'll catch Africanness. You'll catch Guinnessidness. Found from Senegal to Mali, Ivory Coast, Benin, Nigeria, and Western Cameroon. And then a whole bunch of other words that it offends me to say. So I think we've got like 3 or 4 bullseyes, along with not on the same continent. Pseudonyms, yeah. Speaking of, his Agitprop Master account got suspended. And not exactly sure why. Don't know if it'll be back. But his, let's see here. His account is Agitprop Tour. T-U-O-R, as in like Tour Eladar. Agitprop, or just if you look for the Agitprop Master, you'll probably get him. No idea what got him suspended, but I was DMing him this morning and suddenly realized that his account was gone. Was it for the Calvin Hobbes stuff? I don't know. Honestly, I'd imagine it has to be something related to like copyright or something along those lines. So hopefully he can get it sorted out. Okay. Here's another one that's pretty regionally distinct. Michelle Obama. It's Big Mike. Yeah, but who's on the right? Friar Sudanig. Bangladesh, yes. Bangladesh was my answer. Damn! Another one, not even close. Paleo melanesid. Those words are always awkward to pronounce because there's one more syllable than you expect there to be. Typified by the Cannock of New Caledonia in its purest form in the north of the island. Where's Ian Rhodes? We needed Ian Rhodes here. He would have set us straight. This is like some on New Zealand, some on the the east coast of Australia, Papua New Guinea, scattered all over, little blobs out in the ocean. Rare island nigs. Yeah, for sure. We're just ping-ponging back and forth now. So, yeah, Pay and J! Pay and J!
I fucking love trains!
Okay. Can we do something other than blacks? Is that allowed? I'm gonna say Uganda. Ooh, there's another South African one. Chopi Tswana. Chopi Tswana, a Bantuid variety. Overall similar to Central Bantuid, but with weak Khoisan influence, placing it closer to Jausad. These are all words it makes me uncomfortable to say them out loud. Packy. It blocked Packy. Bangladesh, Myanmar. See, yeah. So I was trying to decide if this is more like Southeast Asian, or if this is like a variety of Indian. Hey, I'm moderator working overtime for Ethnoguesser. Vape shop. Tyler says, you must be from the Andaman Islands. Wow, yes, you must be very woke to know such specific cultures. Actually, I am the king of racism. What was that? There's that legendary tweet about like high IQ racism, that you have to be like being a true racist requires knowing, like having a working knowledge of however many different thousands of sub-varieties or something. Maybe someone will remember the exact words from it. Nepal. Okay, we got a Nepal, we got a Bangladesh, we got a Myanmar. We've also got Pakistan. So there's kind of like this band around the northern part of India. I'm just going to say Nepal. It's kind of right in between. Hey, we weren't too far off. We were pretty good. So this is basically an Indian variety. South Gondid.
Good morning, bastards!
It is Michelle Obama. Holy shit! Incredible! It's actually her. Papua New Guinea. Big Mike. Zulu. Okay. Instead of ethno-guesser, there should be slur guesser. It shows you a slur and you pick where the people have... Brilliant! Yes! Yes, that would be incredible. Yeah, they got a jungle nose. Magoo says Uganda. Big Mike and George Floyd. I'm gonna guess Papua New Guinea. Pay and J. Boom! Yes! I knew it. The spirit of Ian Rose was animating me. Pay and J. Just off in the distance. Pay and J. Pay and J. Look at us. Look at how accomplished we are in our racism. Oh, finally. All right, last one. Get your guesses in, folks. I've got mine. The Japanese Empire did not go far enough. Romania, Iran, Moldova, Iran, Israel, Duffhead in the chat, Balkan, Greek, Greece, Armenia, Iran, north of Georgia, Lebanon. I'm pretty sure this is one that has a kind of a wide spread, but Armenia, Sicilian, Lebanon. So I'm pretty sure that this one spreads a decent amount, but I was going to say Georgian. Ooh. Well, it does spread a decent amount, but it's further west than I expected. Israel was right. We should have trusted Duff. Duff, we betrayed you. I'm sorry, sir. Israel would have been correct. Women are always the tell. Bobby Ballbags is just like drunkenly typing locations in the chat. With Jews, you win. Oh, Duff had played it earlier today. Yeah, I mean, what would wonder what it would do for discourse on the internet if this is what people associated Israel with, instead of alternatives. Okay, let me get this here, and oh yeah, I forgot I had this in here. All right, now here's another interactive one. You guys are gonna have to decide. So you have just won a 2-week all expenses paid vacation, but there's a catch. You have to stay within one region the whole time. Which region are you picking? My answer is more hearty than ever. 2-week vacation. I think that's what it said. 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks, all expenses paid. So basically, all of my ancestors are from, basically all of my ancestors are from B. That's where the majority of my heritage is from B. Most of the rest of it is from C. Let me see if I can maybe zoom this in a little bit better. So yeah, the majority of my family is from Norway and Sweden, and then Scotland and the northern parts of England, and then I've also got some German and a little bit of French. And I think I've got like a little bit of Polish, maybe a little bit of Finnish. Basically, all of my people are from B and C. But my answer for this one is 100% E. No question at all. E would be, now this is assuming this is a vacation, and you can all expenses are paid, so you don't have to spend any time amongst the riffraff. You get to hit the high class, the clean areas, which little ones remain. So with E, you get basically all of Italy. You get the coastal regions of Croatia. You get most of Greece, Bulgaria. You even get part of the western part of Turkey, which is pretty cool. And then you get most of Spain and Portugal and the southern parts of France. This is like, you get up into the mountains. You're like right at the edge of the mountains at the top of E in Italy, the very top of the E. So yeah, this is where 100%. And I think if you took this out far enough, I think you'd also get some of like, I'm trying to remember. I think you would be getting parts of like Armenia and Azerbaijan and maybe the southern part of Georgia. I can't remember if Georgia is further north than that or in line with that. But I spent some time in mostly the western half of Turkey several years ago, 20 years ago. It's a little different now than it was then, I suppose. But really beautiful country. Lots of amazing things to see. Very old, very, very old country. And then being able to go to Bulgaria, Serbia. I would run out of places to go. That would be one of the downsides with E, is I would want to see so many different things. Absolutely not going anywhere in F. Sorry to Crete, Sicily. No, that's not going to happen. Be perfectly happy to spend. I could get many weeks wrung out of E. E because food, yeah. And don't estimate Portugal, yeah. Yep. You get some great coastal experiences. You get some great inland experiences. And really, what it is I am just absolutely hankering for that Mediterranean climate and food and terrain. Yeah. I also think B would be pretty cool. I mean, I spent a little bit of time in B before. But honestly, like, some of the stuff in C is just, I don't know, going to some of the German cities or something might be kind of cool. Going to the Netherlands would be kind of cool. Going to the UK, but like, these are all kind of like, that's fine. I'm much more drawn to the Mediterranean. Okay, so from The Economist. I'm not even going to bother reading. It's not even that long, but I'm not going to bother reading it to you because I wanted to stab myself in the eye with toothpicks while I was reading the article itself. But The Economist says European football fans visiting America are discovering the mass affluence of the country's suburbs. The wealth enticing holidaymakers troubles European elites. America, once a peer, seems to be racing ahead. You don't say! You don't say. America, once a peer, seems to be racing ahead. I wonder why that would be. Perhaps because we are living in the golden age, Trump's golden age. Europe buys the future, America builds it. How do you think this is going to last for Europe? If Europe continues to buy the future that America is building, I mean, frankly, the predominant culture of the ruling class of Europe they're descended from the aspirant rich kids. Like, this is the culture of ideological communism and the later stage European philosophers. They're all like decadent rich kids, basically, who really just want all the accoutrement of living the high life without having to dirty their hands with it. And this is how they look at America. They look at America as the help. You know, we're just supposed to like work and produce stuff for them and just like give it to them and order our entire foreign policy and domestic policy around their priorities and their agendas and just say, yes, thank you, sir, may I have another? Well, that's not going to happen anymore. Yeah, Living Dead. Put them on an allowance. This is what they want. Now, to put them on an allowance isn't going to be great for the rank and file Europeans, many of whom are not even if many of them may be libtarded, they're not all that different in that sense from rank and file Americans. But perhaps being stuck for a while, living under the allowance of their superiors, they're not superiors necessarily, but like those who are in power over them. I don't know. Maybe then they decide that they want to change that. But I don't think we're ever going back to a world wherein Europe is the unquestioned civilizational pole in the world, because Europe was that for a period of time, but the creation of a globalized world was basically Europe building it was like them building their own coffin. Because when the economic pole of the world was Europe, everything orbited around Europe, then they could maintain that wealthy standard of living and ordering the rest of the world at their behest. But eventually a time was going to come when there would be another power that just had the natural blessings of geography and ethnography, the temperament, the spirit, to surpass Europe. And then Europe doesn't have a path back. The only way that Europe can maintain itself as a first world nation is a first world region, a region that has like a first world standard of living. The only way that they can do that is either by parasitizing off of the rest of the world or at the largesse of the rest of the world. Basically, the rest of the world needs to get along with Europe and like Europe and be willing to fund that lifestyle for them, because they don't have the resource capacity in their glorified peninsula to actually sustain themselves vis-a-vis the rest of the world. So having there's this, one of the big civilizational cycles our time is defined by right now is the transition where Europe is going from being the pole that the rest of the world orbits around to orbiters. They have to get in line. And the European nations themselves have built up a lot of animosity with like basically every region in every other part of the world, which you might say is kind of inevitable. Like if you build globe-spanning empires, then as your empires begin to decline, there's going to be a lot of latent hostility and resentment there. Sure, okay, well that's what's happened. So if the prosperity of Europe's future is determined by the extent to which they can get along with people, recognizing that they no longer get to dictate the terms of the relationship, then, I don't know, I started the sentence and I don't remember where I was going with it. But basically, Europe needs as many friends right now as they can get. And a major component of being able to get and maintain and develop those friendships is going to be them recognizing they don't get to be top dog anymore. They don't get to bend the rest of the world to their will. The rest of the world gets a say-so now. But here's a summary. I threw this into Grok because I started reading through it and I was like, oh, this makes me want to hurt myself. This is so bad. Just the writing, the smarminess, it's just gross. So I just said summarize and de-wonkify. Salute the Patriot poll. That's right. So plain English summary. Europe is investing heavily in American tech stocks, especially AI companies, but doing very little to actually build the tech itself. America is pouring insane money into building the future, data centers, chips, and models, while Europeans mostly buy shares in those American winners. So the key points. U.S. dominance in building. American tech giants spend about $400 billion in AI capex in 2025, data centers, servers, and power. Projections go to trillions soon, roughly 2% of U.S. GDP, defense spending levels. One estimate says the entire EU invests only about 4% of what the US does. OpenAI alone reportedly outspends the whole EU on this. So in building one of the foundational technological platforms of the future, the entire EU is spending about 4% of what the United States is spending. And I'm sure that you're not going to get like 25x less spending just because the EU is just so prudent, so industrious, so efficient. So America builds it, then Europe buys in. European pension funds, insurers, and savers are pouring money into U.S. tech stocks, trading at high valuations, which might be basically the only thing that could ever possibly save European pension funds, insurers, and savers. Like, frankly, their own futures depend upon the explosive growth and success of the United States, which is quite a dilemma to be in. Our own economic future, because we haven't built anything, our own economic future depends upon the financial success of what's developing into our greatest economic rival. Global funds have allocated very little to European stocks and a ton to America. Europeans get dividends or returns from the AI boom, but have little control or ownership of the underlying infrastructure and IP. Why the gap? Europe has fragmented markets, risk-averse regulators and banks, and a culture that punishes bold spending. Many big European firms still haven't adopted AI seriously. America has venture capital, tolerance for failure, and massive firms that can eat huge fixed costs. Now, part of this has been, or I'd say a lot of this actually, has been by design, where America is treated as the laboratory. They outsource all of this, as this is part of the colonial relationship, is they'll outsource the risky stuff to the colony, and then as soon as it's perfected, then they'll pull it back in and like take their vig off of it. But eventually the colony is going to get big enough to where it is no longer a colony. And you can just look at this like we compare the United States to France or the United States to Germany. When in reality, it's much more like each individual, like US states are equivalent to European nations. There isn't an equivalency at all between Europe and the United States. Because Europe, as a region, doesn't have nearly the unified, both whether de facto or de jure. The Europe doesn't have a unified self the way that the United States does. The United States is pretty unique, and that we are able to maintain as much unity nationally as we do, despite being comprised of so many disparate cultures that are spread out across so much land. The United States has been multicultural for a very long time, and I'm not even talking multiracial. The United States has always been, always 150, 200 years, so long enough that it's retreated from living memory. The United States has been self-aware as one single polity that is that unites a bunch of different subcultures. Very disparately, geographically, religiously, psychologically, temperamentally. But yet all those disparate cultures see themselves as Americans. There's almost so much history with Europe, like Europe being the European civilizations being so much older, almost makes it harder for them to integrate. This is one of the benefits of going through our American ethnogenesis over the past couple hundred years, which is a pretty short period of time, is that we've actually been able to integrate diversity better than Europe does. I'm not saying that's good or bad, I'm just saying it's a fact. So the debate in the article, The Economist frames a transatlantic spat over GDP comparisons involving economists like Paul Krugman. You can see why I just summarized this. Yeah, Patchy, the poorest state still has a higher GDP than most of Europe, than all of Europe. I think it was like all of Europe except for like Monaco, like the places that are like specifically designated as like high net worth enclaves. Some argue Europe is doing fine because its people consume the benefits of U.S. innovation, which is cheaper and better tech flows globally. Others say that's cope. Europe is increasingly a renter, not an owner of the future. Hey, Europe, you're going to own nothing and you're going to like it. Oh, that feels good. Europe is going to own nothing and they're going to like it. Regulatory power, the AI Act, etc., sounds nice, but weakens without strong homegrown companies to enforce it. Specializing in applications while America owns the core models risks repeating Japan's 1980s mistake: strong manufacturing and assembly, but weak on high value upstream tech. Bottom line, Europe is financially participating in America's AI tech boom via stock ownership, but it's not building much at home. This feels safe and profitable short term, but leaves Europe dependent and strategically weaker long term. America takes the risks, reaps the control and upside, and Europeans get a slice as passive investors. The article suggests that this buy the future, don't build it approach is more surrender than smart prudence. It's a classic transatlantic dynamic, US dynamism and scale versus European caution and consumption, relevant to the ongoing Europe falling behind talks. I mean, and like, when I'm looking at these, when I'm thinking about these sorts of trends, I'm thinking on the, like, far above the level of political parties or political agendas or ideologies, above the political system itself. I'm looking at, like, the civilizational trends. And there's some of these trends are so deeply set in both on the American side and on the European side, that it kind of doesn't matter how things progress politically. Like, if you're sitting here and thinking about, oh, what's going to happen if the Democrats win a future election, or what's going to happen if it's Marco Rubio versus J.D. Vance, or, like, you could think about those things, but baked into the foundation of your assumption should be the recognition of some of these sorts of trends. Like, Europe is going to increasingly, or say decreasingly, be able to throw its economic weight around independently, and is going to increasingly be exist at the behest of, like, to the extent that America chooses to let them continue to exist. It overstates it a little bit. It's not that, like, Europe is going to disappear, but it's like Europe's future is becoming much more contingent. By definition, Europe is ceding sovereignty through the intentional choices that they've made about things like their participation in technology and the sorts of benefits that they've made a baseline expectation for their people, without having the industrial sand in their pants to actually be able to back up those promises. So increasingly, Europe is going to need a bailout. Europe is going to be bailed out, whether formally or informally, and actual sovereign control over European assets is going to go to those who effect the bailout. And the question is going to be whether this is going to be a hostile, enforced takeover, or effectively a bankruptcy with lipstick on it. American capital markets can absorb this sort of it's not just a transaction, it's like a generation's worth of transactions, but American capital markets can absorb that what would you call it? Like, there's like a there's a level of market flexibility and adaptability and ability to accommodate stress and crisis and turmoil that the American markets uniquely are positioned to accomplish. Like, one of the reasons why American politics haven't gotten radicalized and turned into such a complete tire fire the way that Europeans have is because America has this identity of Americans. The entire continent is covered with people who see themselves as Americans, who have a subconscious assent to the identity of American. They identify that way. Like, before the level of choice, it's just kind of the way they naturally see themselves. And yet we're so geographically diffuse. We're so spread out. It means that it's difficult to really accumulate and consolidate and direct targeted energy for some sort of big revolution, overthrow, whatever. Like, it's easier to overthrow a city government than it is to overthrow a national government, and all the more so when this national government effectively rules over an entire continent. So there's a lot of space for that energy to dissipate out into, which there's benefits and drawbacks to that. But one thing that it does do is it makes the American system very, very stable. The World Cup has turned America into a discovery channel for the rest of the world, and they're not handling it well in the best possible way. Here's what they're discovering. Free public restrooms. Europeans pay every time. Free water at every restaurant. It just appears. Free refills, coffee, sodas, iced tea, unlimited. Free chips and salsa before you even order. Free warm bread with dinner. Ice in drinks like civilized people. Air conditioning everywhere. Not a moral debate, a fact. Parking lots attached to the actual place you're going. Drive-thrus, where the food comes to the car while you sit in it. Ranch dressing by the gallon. Tex-Mex that cannot be explained, only experienced. Dental care that actually works. Buc-ee's. There are no words for Buc-ee's. Then they found the grocery stores. 5 of them within 1 mile, each one the size of an aircraft hangar. Burgers, steaks, brisket, ribs, pulled pork, lamb, veal, every cut of every animal ever domesticated by human civilization, available in one refrigerated aisle at 10 in the morning on a Tuesday. The Germans stood in the meat section for 45 minutes in silence, processing. They finally understand why we do not have trains. We have roads wide enough for the cars we actually drive. Parking lots the size of small European countries. Airports in every city worth visiting. Why would we need trains? The Germans are taking ranch home by the bottle. The Dutch found queso and briefly lost the ability to speak. The Japanese are photographing HEB like it's the Louvre. The Czechs are weeping in West Texas. Welcome to America, the greatest country on earth. Yeah, Augustine, realizing Europe is a second world nation. They genuinely, because their experience, they're naturally predisposed to be contemptuous and suspicious of flyover country Americans. They're not even aware of suburbs. All their experience comes with talking to people who live in fucking Brooklyn, which is incidentally very European. And their life experience, their cost of living, all those sorts of things, is very different there than it is out. So in America, we have little suburban enclaves just out in the middle of nowhere of people who live like lords, like European lords. Massive sprawling estates. Manicured lawns. They have servants, basically. They have housekeepers. They have maids. They have landscapers. I mean, we do not do. We are not well off relative to our generation. We are not well off at all, and yet it makes financial sense for us to just pay to have a guy come mow our lawn every couple of weeks. The standard of living that Americans experience is something that Europeans genuinely cannot comprehend outside the cities. Presses button says, Tim Dillon just declared in a video that MAGA is over, and all the comments agree. So sad to see so many morons. Well, we'll see what they're saying after the midterms. Yeah, Euro suburbs or projects or council flats. Yeah. And there are places outside the cities where wealthy people, where there's sort of like an equivalent to the American upper middle class, upper middle suburban class. But in terms of sheer numbers and economic weight, the American upper middle suburban class is larger than some European countries. It's huge. This World Cup has been a fascinating, fascinating time for seeing all of these people who have all these conceptions about America, baseline conceptions about everything outside of like densely packed urban blue areas that have made it really easy to just buy into these things about, the mouth-breathing hillbillies who somehow managed to elect Cheeto Hitler and he's just destroying the whole world. And then they come over and they actually encounter what Americans are like. They actually see what America's like. They're like, hold on a second. You guys are experiencing a standard of living that we can't even comprehend. Kate says, imagine the mental gymnastics you have to put yourself through to justify living in that kind of oppression and squalor as a white nation. Couldn't be us. Well, there's definitely plenty of white Americans who live in deep in the heart of completely and utterly destroyed blue cities who have put up with similar levels of it. But that's the thing, is like, you can go see those cities. You can see large, sprawling cities that have been laid to waste by wokeness and immigration and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, it's difficult to take in just how much land and property and beauty and resources and culture has been devastated. And then you can just drive for a little bit and you find yourself in the middle of like a beautiful, protected, private, rural area, or you just go one state over and it's totally different. Once again, the scale of the United States, the absolute depth of the civilization that we've constructed here is unlike anything else in the world. And this World Cup is revealing that to people. This was the United States. This was at the United States game in Seattle. This was the national anthem, and this guy here tweeting in Spanish, a broadcaster or something, said the U.S. national anthem here in Seattle has been a true movie scene, spectacular. Watch it all the way to the end. Brutal. I wonder what was that in Spanish. Brutal. I wonder if that has a different context in Spanish. More than 65,000 people, absolute full house. The United States showing that it's a soccer-loving country too. Fabulous. Hold that thought on that comment. We'll come back to this. The United States shows it's a soccer-loving country. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Take this in. Just a little reminder. If you don't act right, you're going to look up and see those babies. Just a little reminder, we do this shit for fun. That's right. So he says the United States is showing that it's a soccer-loving country too. And Mark Randazza says, we're not a soccer-loving country. If they had the global midget toss competition or world alphabet burping competition and the United States was in it, Americans would show up and start screaming. We love America. You just have to give us any fucking excuse to show it. Exactly. The global midget toss competition, America will absolutely kick ass. You start that competition, we will destroy every single one. We have the best midgets. Our midgets are the most aerodynamic. Our midget tossers have trained for at least 6 months. No one in the world can compete with them. This is our president. Listen to this. Listen to this anecdote. This is from Justin Gaethje over on the Joe Rogan Experience. Listen to this. Hopefully 41 seconds worth doesn't get the video taken down.
I was honestly really nervous, Joe. I was like, dude, there's like, just again, being around everybody and something could happen. The drones that they stopped. Like, again, I wasn't knowing what to expect. And then until after the fight, because again, we couldn't take it in. It was a beautiful thing. And Justin,
I was like, fuck it. If I get taken out in the middle of the cage, how fucking legendary would that be?
I said to Trump, I go, I hope we don't die in a terrorist attack.
dude.
I said to Trump, I hope we don't die in a terrorist attack. He goes, we got to go somehow. I go,
That's what I
what?
mean. Yeah, like everyone will remember it for the rest of eternity.
yeah, but no, I'll pass.
Sign me up,
I'll
bud.
pass.
Better the way it went.
Dude,
I think
the way
it
it went is way better.
fantastic.
That's a way better outcome.
Way better. Well, hey,
That is my president. That is my president. Gotta go somehow. How legendary would that be? And look at my president's champion. He's like, dude, if I get slimed in the middle of the octagon, how awesome would that be? This stuffy, spiritually European faggot, Mark Pollenkart, said, I'm sure our founding fathers would be very proud to know our president celebrated the 250th birthday of our nation with Chex Notes. Oh, he did a Chex Notes meme, guys. A cage fight on the White House lawn. Cremu says they would. The founding fathers would get blackout drunk and break stuff. Washington was a famously drunk dancer. President Jackson threw a kegger in the White House when he got elected. Later, Teddy Roosevelt staged fights at the White House. Trump isn't even the first to do it. Look at this. Bill from the City Tavern in Philadelphia, September 14, 1787. Food and drink for 55 gentlemen's. Food, relishes, olives, etc. Drink in bottles. 54 bottles of Madeira. 60 bottles of claret. 8 bottles of old stock whiskey. 22 bottles of porter. 8 bottles of cider. 12 bottles of beer. And 7 bowls of punch. Damages. Broken decanters, wine glasses, and tumblers. They were partying. They loved life, and they fought, wrestled, and in some cases even shot each other. They were a bunch of rowdy young men. Of course they'd love to see an exhibition match. We know because they loved exhibition matches. They had fist fights in Congress. Bring back congressional fist fights. They would be delighted to no end to see a cage fight on the White House lawn. They'd probably invite all of D.C. to come see it. We know this because they did stuff like that all the time for all sorts of reasons. Remember Jefferson's cheese wheel he let the public harvest? If you think the founding fathers would be upset by wrestling, you're a fool. Washington was famously a collar and elbow wrestling champion, and he held the Virginia champion title until he was 47, with no losses. Even Abraham Lincoln won a catch wrestling tournament when he was 21. See, this is a picture. This is a picture here of Abraham Lincoln winning a catch wrestling tournament when he was 21. Only real news here, folks. When you're talking about the founding fathers, you have to realize you're talking about a particularly rowdy young group of men who had recently been forced to physically fight to birth a country. They were not strangers to violence in sport or in need. Or in mead. Teddy Roosevelt was a wild man who did wild things. Senator Henry Cabot Lodge has been heard yelling irritably at a portly object swaying in the sky. Theodore, if you knew how ridiculous you look on top of that tree, you would come down at once. On winter evenings in Rock Creek Park, strollers may observe the President of the United States wading pale and naked into the ice-clogged stream, followed by shivering members of his cabinet. He's basically like RFK. RFK is one of the closest characters in public office today to the founding fathers. The president would wander naked into the ice-clogged stream and force all of the members of his cabinet to go with him. Thumping noises in the White House library indicate that Roosevelt is being thrown around the room by a Japanese wrestler. A particularly seismic crash, which makes the entire mansion tremble, signifies that Secretary Taft has been forced to join in the fun. Teddy Roosevelt was making Taft fight sumo wrestlers. Mark Twain is not alone in thinking the president insane. Tales of Roosevelt's unpredictable behavior are legion, although there's usually an explanation. Once, for instance, he hailed a handsome cab on Pennsylvania Avenue, seized the horse, and mimed a knife attack upon it. He was literally RFK. God, I love this country. Now, this video is going around this week, and there's a very interesting phenomenon being explored in this. One bar, two Americas.
One bar, two Americas.
I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, you know what I'm saying?
I'm the second person in my family to get a bachelor's degree.
I'm like trash. You ghetto at the same time.
I did move back to this area out of like financial necessity.
I love this place. We're a different breed out here.
I was finishing a PhD. I was working a couple of different jobs, and so I did move back in with my parents.
I work all the time, I'll tell you that.
I finished it over a year ago, and I've not been able to find a job and move out.
I work 6 weeks, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. That's what I do.
I have a book that's being published about neoliberalism and work.
I have a book that's being published. Nobody will hire me. I don't know why. It's probably because of neoliberals. Yeah, Whit, this is exactly Oren's fail liberals that we have to deal with in Red America.
What is it you do?
You have the liberals who go away to the big city, to get their big break, and then they fail, and they come back to Red America, and they decide that their new agenda is going to be fixing Red America. And here's the thing. These people, they come back, they're wholehearted believers in the cause, and they get involved. They go run for city council, or they get really invested in whoever's going to run for city council, and the reason that you have Drag Queen Story Hour at a library is because of the fail libs. That's how it happens in the middle of Iowa or deep in Oklahoma somewhere. You have these types who come back, bring that back, have nothing better to live for, are true dyed-in-the-wool believers in the cause. And so they realize how low the stakes are, how easy it is to get involved and be your local school board administrator or whatever role that most people just kind of gloss over and don't pay much attention to. Meanwhile, where is he? This guy here, he's too busy doing something productive. Working 12 hours a day. He's busy. He's not paying attention to that sort of stuff. Now, the answer to this is not make this guy politically activated. The answer is the people in this guy's neighborhood who actually value him and want to preserve that civilization that he's building every day, they have to actually get down and dirty and do the dirty work. And stop ceding territory to these things.
I have a book that's being published about neoliberalism and work.
What is it you do? I work on utility poles and lines. I'm an inspector.
The American dream, do you think that's real?
Oh, yeah. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
It's all about how hard you work. Real Yeah.
That social contract and how it degrades a bit is real. Do X, Y, and Z, and then you have certain expectations, and then you don't get the other side of it.
And are you enjoying life?
I love life. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Look at that contrast. Icon of America right here. Now, this video, I saw people talking about this, I tried to go see where it was from. And it's from this guy, Jack Boswell, documentary and podcast maker, currently asking if we should make America Great Britain again.
Should the UK recolonize America?
Make America Great Britain again.
We vehemently oppose.
You're gonna go down!
I'm asking that question as the US approaches 250 years of independence.
You'd have to get past Texas. They got guns everywhere.
America does some things well.
There's a lot of opportunity here. It's still a pretty darn free country.
I love America.
And others less well.
The inequality, it doesn't seem sustainable.
I don't know how many times he fired the gun, but he hit me 7.
Do you want to be part of the British Empire?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Join me on a trip like no other.
European countries now are doing way better than us.
You guys are on the fast track to becoming a caliphate.
Do you guys get maternity leave?
You know, it's getting rougher and rougher.
Would you like a crumpet? Stella! Jesus is going to set all of this straight.
The British are coming.
Urge to keel haul intensifying.
Make America Great Britain again. Ooh. You've heard of MAGA, presumably. Have you heard of MAGBA?
MAGBA, I have not.
No.
So that's a campaign to make America Great Britain again. Ooh. We're asking people whether it'd be better off if the Brits came back in and retook America as a colony, maybe sorted out some of the problems.
I mean, we could work together, sure.
Can you imagine America being subjected to British rule again?
I think the more the merrier.
The more the merrier. Okay. Well, I have a petition if you wanted to sign.
It's like getting sprayed by a skunk. You cannot get rid of it. Doesn't matter what you clean yourself in. You will not get their stench off of you. The clingiest people of all time.
Sign it to rejoin. Make America.
I may have English ancestors, but I'm American. I am not the same as this guy.
Come in here legally and I won't have a problem with you. Come in here legally.
I am a legal resident, American citizen, but still sometimes I feel unsafe.
My family, my grandmother came from Italy.
So they were immigrants at one point?
At one point, yes.
How long have you lived here?
33 years.
I do support who's in office. I do. We all voted for someone who is going to be the best for our community.
I don't know why the immigration focusing to catch Hispanic people when most of the people, they work very hard in this country.
And that's the reason we voted for that man.
I love this country, I love the American people, but this administration and this president changed everything.
Come in here legally and I won't have a problem with you.
This chick's a patriot. You could tell toward the end there, she's nervous. She's nervous standing by her vote for Donald Trump in public, talking to a subversive limey.
Is our beans on toast better than yours?
I didn't realize that was even a thing you did. Do you do beans on toast?
The N-word!
Might America be in a better place if it was still ruled by the British?
I like more British TV. I'm a huge fan of Taskmaster. It is one of my favorite shows on earth.
Then I can't tempt you into signing my petition for America to rejoin the British Empire. You're the most British person I've met. Beans on toast and Taskmaster.
He can go too!
Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go. Pwah.
The sound of them being deported together.
One bar to...
This land was your land.
Can you
but now it's our
arrest
land.
this man?
From California to the Midwest Cow land, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters.
Get off our
this
land!
Land's a British colony. This land.
Trespassers will be gut shot was a sign that I saw driving deep in the woods in rural Washington state once upon a time. And I'm reminded of that for some reason.
You don't notice the golden age when you're living in it, arguably. Believe it or not, 2003 is vintage now, I know. Even the younger kids that come in this shop, they pick up these phones. That seemed like such a nice time to be alive. It was just kind of a simpler time, I feel like.
Well, speaking of simpler times, what if America went back even further and let the British take over again?
I'm not a slave to any particular idea. If that works and they showed the policy behind it, I'd be for it. If it's aliens, AI, or the British, I welcome it all. You don't know.
Never before has a visual profile and the sentiments associated with it been more tightly associated.
I still resent every person who voted for Trump.
You've heard of MAGA, presumably. Have you heard of MAGA?
Is that me?
America, Great Britain again. It's this campaign
Now listen to this. Wait for this. This little twist here is going to be fun.
we're launching for Britain to come in and take over for a little while, try and sort things out.
No, I don't know about that.
Not sure about that.
If we had not declared independence, we'd still be an exploited colony, I think. And as one of the organizers of the No Kings March,
One of the organizers of the No Kings March. You'll be shocked to learn.
I'm very much against living under a monarchy.
I still resent every person.
I'm conflicted. I've seen too many.
You don't notice the golden.
Who are
One bar is our beans
friendly
on
and
toast better than
accommodating.
yours.
I didn't realize.
Come in here
limey.
legally and
Is our
You don't.
I
And then
still
we get the
resent it.
pushback from the boomer No Kings people. I don't know how to feel about this. Are we going to have to come full circle on the boomer No Kings people? We'll just give them their own. We'll give them their own focus camp. How about that? They can have their own camp where they go to focus. They can, I don't know, guarantee them Social Security or something. Give them a cruise ship or something. Just put them on a cruise. That's what we'll do with them. Their focus camp will just be a cruise, 365 days a year. All expenses paid. Yeah, the cognitive dissonance is astounding here. Who would have thought that it would be the TDS shit-lib boomers who become the bulwark against the encroaching limeys? Yeah, they can sing Jimmy Buffett songs and play pickleball all day so long as they don't vote. Correct. All right, guys, Mrs. Kingpill is getting restless. She says, Matt is working for free today, apparently. I'm shucking and jiving for all I'm worth up here. Tips.kingpill.com. No freeloading. You have to, if you're going to keep watching, you have to contribute. Every little
Britain
bit
wants to
counts.
become the 51st state, we might be able to make room.
America, it's coming up to 250 years.
I mean, I don't know. Which one is more?
I still resent it.
You got to pick your fighter here. You've got your boomer shitlib No Kings organizer, who's like, yeah, nope, that's going to be a no for me. And then you've got
If Britain wants to be
your boomer comics and games guy who's like, oh, Britain can become the 51st. No. I don't even want Britain to be the 51st state. That's too close.
become the 51st state, we might be able to make room.
America, it's coming up to 250 years. Maybe the Brits should come back in, take over for a while. We rename the 4th of July Dependence Day.
Dependence Day! Mr. President, we need firing squads.
It's a funny thought. I don't think it would go over well. I lived there for 4 years from 96 to 2000. The way it was in England with, like I said, a TV license. Now I get what America came to be.
Escaping oppression from the TV licenses.
Exactly.
So I can't get you to sign
Not
my
today.
petition.
No. If Britain wants to become the
Oi! You got a license for that TV?
In this community back then, they didn't allow blacks
The
to live
N-word.
up here. And that's what I was told when I was a little girl. So my mom taught me to love everybody, and no matter what color we all have the same blood. So
I didn't
to
go
be
this far.
honest, Jack, my personality is not here. My mind is so different. I'm high-minded. Like, I think big, like... You done ballroom?
No, I've never tried it.
Okay, I can show you, Jack. I ain't good, and I'm gonna do the best I can. Jack, you gonna have people throwing a rotten tomato at me.
Okay,
You take
so-
your hand,
yeah.
and then they go like that, and then they go like this, and then
And then they twirl around?
Yeah, you know about it. In this community back then, they didn't allow blacks to live like up.
She's kind of sweet.
London, England, London, England. Mary Poppins is London, right?
All right, never mind.
Just a spoonful of sugar. Where in the world
Get
she
her
going
out.
with a British flag? That's my friend Jack flag.
Do you have a message for the king?
Step on
I
it.
am enjoying Jack. Thank y'all for sending him here. Shut the front and back door. Eva Abba is a London, England guy.
He definitely is.
God bless you, King Charles. I pray I get to meet you all one day and be friends with y'all. When
Idris Elba. It was Idris Elba that did it.
people talk to me, I be saying darling.
Please call me darling.
Oh, you like darling Jack? I forgot their names.
King Charles.
Yes.
Would America be interested in rejoining the British Empire as a colony? Let us come in, take over for a while?
One of our favorite jokes around here is we would dump the tea in the water again, just like they did in the American Revolution. I studied abroad in England, and we did bring tea, and we did dump it into the Thames.
That's so vindictive.
It was vindictive, but that's a big part of our culture, is that we love hating on England, loving the people, but hating on England.
Even if we call...
All right, fellas, you gotta track her down. I know you can do it. I've seen what the autists on the internet can do. You've got more than enough information from this
With
video.
all of the gun shootings?
Well...
Would America be interested in...
This bastard!
I am being oppressed, and I have proof. I tried to boost this post.
Should the UK recolonize America?
Make America Great Britain again.
And was told it violates advertising policies around elections and social issues. Why would they do this? They're afraid, because they know it's what the people want. So if the man won't let me promote it, you've got to promote it for me. Smash the share button, drop a comment, and make sure you follow, and together we will make America Great Britain again.
All right, Mark Zuckerberg. There's another tick in the pro column. We can talk a little bit longer. We can negotiate a little bit longer. Now, why the hell? Hold on a second. I don't know why these things insist upon exasperating me so. Let's try this again. There it is! Ah! I guarantee you guys couldn't hear that, and it was... Oh! I need to fix this. I need to figure out why this isn't working. It's... hearing Dale Gribble say, I be hiling King Trump and shit. We bout a Gallagher these disgusting red coat nigger faggots. Thank you, the watermelon felon. You were a patriot. Why is it not working? Well, anyways, the tips will come through. They will display. I just reconnected the thing here. So they will come through. Please do tip your streamer. And if worse comes to worse, then I'll just read everything that comes through. All right. Now, get you guys wound up on that guy. This is the man that we are going to send to remove him from our country. I've got several clips now of Stephen Miller just going off, just doing Stephen Miller stuff.
The Democrat Party, Sean, as you've covered better than anybody, has become a party of Marxist, communist, socialist, violent extremists, and yes, violent revolutionaries who support the policies that are getting Americans killed en masse, historically for many years now, and of course it accelerated under the Biden administration, by criminal illegal aliens. This is a party that supports violence against ICE officers, supports violence against federal law enforcement, and engages in conduct and rhetoric and behavior that leads to repeated assassination attempts against President Trump, against President Trump's supporters, and against Republican elected office holders. It is a terrifying reality, but one we cannot turn away from, ignore. We cannot put our heads in the sand and pretend the Democrat Party of the 90s or the 80s or the 70s exists anymore, because it is gone, Sean. It is gone, and it is not coming back.
It is
the
gone.
90s. What do I started in the 90s? The 90s, the 80s, and the 70s.
The party has two groups now: radical extremists and cowards. The cowards who've allowed the radical extremists to eat the party alive. Maybe they know at some level that it's wrong, that it's evil, that it's dangerous, that is leading to all this incredible violence against conservatives that we've seen. Maybe they're just too stupid, they don't know that. But you have cowards and you have extremists. When you talk about abolishing ICE, what you are talking about is allowing every drug cartel, every Mexican criminal organization like the Sinaloa cartel. You're talking about letting every terrorist organization on planet Earth prey freely upon American men, women, and children. Worst of all, the children. You remember names like Jocelyn Nungary, where two illegal alien gang members from Trinidad were released on purpose, deliberately, by the Biden administration, and sexually assaulted and killed this precious little angel. Thousands of examples just like that. They know what happens. They know they're causing it. They don't care, because they've become that extreme and that dangerous. And thank God we have President Trump in the White House, in the Oval Office, defending and protecting this nation every day. He has to fight two battles every day. He has to fight a battle against the criminals and the terrorists and the foreign enemies of this country. He has to fight a battle against the Democrats who are providing aid, shelter, and comfort to those same enemies.
Gah! I just need a 24/7 stream of Stephen Miller taking Democrats to the Woodhouse. Listen to him here. Timothus.
Any American who wants to become British gets deported by catapult.
Any American who wants to become British gets deported by catapult. So true. So true. This is one of the big projects that SpaceX is going to be working on. That time it worked. But you didn't hear the money printer sound on that one, did you? Because I didn't either. What the hell is going on? So, this isn't even about the custom alerts that I've set up. You heard the money printer. I didn't hear the money printer. I heard that one.
All right. No freeloading, y'all. Heil Miller. Heil victory.
Okay, did you get the Gribble voice on that one? It came through. Yes! Yes! I don't know what changed. Finally, you guys actually heard the little bit of art that I created for you guys. Oh, names need to stay on the screen longer. Yeah, I need to figure out why they're I can't do it for like, I have to do it for a set amount. I can't have it change. I can't have the amount of time change per alert. It has to be a set amount, but I'll make it longer. Isn't the Gribble voice great? Ah! Another one!
Listening tax.
Thank you, Slosher! They're flooding in now. Thank you, guys. Let's see, is it looks like it's adding it to the goal as well. So did you guys get the whole alert for that one as well? Oh man, I haven't even set up the Rube Goldberg machine thing yet. This is all just straightforward. I just don't know why it's not quite working. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I think maybe what it is I've been resetting like one part of it, but I just need to reinitiate the connection before I start the stream. I think that's the thing that I have to do. I just have to like refresh the connection on everything. So next stream, we'll test that out. We will see if refreshing the connection before the stream starts or right after the stream starts actually makes it work. Yeah, finally after weeks, it inexplicably works midstream. No idea why. It just It just is what it is. Dale Gribble so much better than that Justine skank. Yeah, people were complaining about not having Justine, and no, I like Dale.
All I can say about Tallarico is that Texas is not going to elect an individual. I can't call him a man. Who knows what gender he is? But they're not going to elect an individual, an entity who has said the things that he loves most in the whole world are trans children. He's a weird, strange, bizarre, totally unelectable human who is never, ever going to be
sorry, not faggy
from
enough.
The great state of Texas.
What part will Donald Trump?
All I can say about Tallarico is
I love how there's few people who have gotten Stephen Miller to take the gloves off more than James Tallarico. Stephen Miller exists to purge people like James Tallarico from the planet. Yeah, he was totally going to call him a faggot. He totally wanted to and was trying to figure out a way to do it.
Faggot? Yeah. I just did. But would you faggot. Okay. What a fag.
Okay, and then here I got one more, and then we'll watch this JD's update that he published earlier today on the Iran negotiations.
The key to the whole entire thing, Sean. So historically, the challenge with midterm elections.
Tikon says when Miller starts cricking his neck, you're effed. Yeah, he's like, once he starts getting this going here, you know that it's about to get real.
Has been the president is not on the ballot. And we all know that Donald Trump is the Republican Party. And when Donald Trump is on the ballot, what happens, Sean? Republicans win up and down the ballot. They win the House, they win the Senate, they win deep in purple territory, they win deep in blue territory, they break and smash the blue wall. So our job between now and Election Day is to make sure that Republicans are motivated, determined, and committed to coming out and supporting their president, and at the same time, the American people, including independents, including normal Democrats, including Reagan Democrats, understand what you and I discussed tonight, which is how dangerous, extreme, and yes, violent the Democrat Party has become.
By the way, is CNN still not putting you on?
I have to put in a fresh request. They had a blacklist for a while. The problem, Sean, is every time I go on CNN, you play the clips here, you humiliate and embarrass them, they don't want to have me on for 3 months.
Thank you, Kai, for the $20. See, that one there, did you guys get the money printer sound on that one? Because it didn't come through for me. I didn't get any audio. I just saw it pop up on the screen. Hold on. There's another one. Yeah, there was no message with that one. That was just $20 from Kai. But there's another one here, and of course, that one's just not coming through. Let's try this. Replaying event. And... did it break again? Maybe some things are just too good to be true. Ninja of Space says he turns his head to hear the voices better. Beware when Miller starts listening more closely to the voices. Yeah, Tobias, correct. That's not a money printer. It's a bill counter. That's very true. Very, very true. An astute hearer of things. Yeah, Ko-Fi don't like the watermelon felon. I don't know why. Here, hold on. Let me try one thing here. We're going to do a little test to find out if there's a consistent pattern to this. There's that. Now, if we come back over here and we try this. Yep. Oh no! Ah! Oh, there's no rhyme or reason to any of this. That was, I got to experience hearing Dale Gribble say, wait till I get my hands around that beautiful skanky throat, Justine. I'm going to fuck you like a racist raccoon on Quaaludes. The watermelon felon. What a patriot. Tobias says we need the equivalent of Stephen Miller, but instead of fixing the USGs, fixing the King Pilt stream setup. No kidding. No kidding. I don't know why it doesn't just work. I set it up to work, and it just doesn't work. You know, one of the problems here, I hesitate to say this because I'll never hear the end of it, but one thing that I have come to realize is that I think that part of the reason why it's so difficult getting these things to work is because there aren't natural tools built for, or there's fewer natural tools built for the for Macs. If I had bought a PC, there's a lot more native tools that just work more reliably, and I opted for the Mac because I got way more way more computer for my money for what I spent. And it integrates with the iPad and the iPhone and the AirPods and everything. So it made sense. But I've learned there's a lot of things that would probably just work a lot better if I didn't have a Mac. Oh well. Well, maybe it'll just start working randomly again. If stuff breaks on a Mac, you can drop it to the Unix layer and debug it better. Ben Shapiro on 2X, you could drop it to the Unix layer and debug it better. I cannot. I don't even know what that means. You've typed a sentence that I've never read before and never expect to read again. Why is the crime rate going up? It must be economic factors. Why is the stream not working? It must be the Mac. Yeah. It starts with open terminal and type. Yeah, so I've had Grok work me through some of those things, but, I have time to troubleshoot all of those things or do a stream. I can't do both. A PC for Matt. Yeah, we need to cover Matt and Amy and Eastwood's living expenses and also fundraise for Matt to get a PC so things will just work. Hey, that one works! I'm getting a great experience over here. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Thank you, Andrew. No sound. It sounds fantastic on my end. Just wonderful. Everything works perfectly on my end every single time. He said, my theory is only $88 donations work. Mein Führer Miller is going to deport that whore Justine by catapult back to whatever liberal shithole she came from. Yeah, I'm just laughing like the homeless guy outside. Yeah, if you guys were having the experience that I was, everything's just perfectly seamless. Works fantastically every single time. For whatever reason, the audio is just not coming through to you guys. Amy says maybe only $100 tips work. Should try it and see. Yeah, It's probably only the $200 tips, honestly. I think those are the only ones that work. Yeah, I've got this great plan for what I want to do for the tips over $100, and it's even more. You're talking Rube Goldberg machine. It's very Rube Goldberg machine. It would be fantastic if it actually came off right, but now I don't know. I don't know if it's even worth trying to make it happen. Because if it would work, it would be just so. I'll just tell you. I'll just tell you guys. I'll tell you right now. I'll spoil it. I'll spoil it ahead of time. What I want to do is I want to use an AI video generation service that I've already signed up for, and have it, when you send in a tip for $100 or more through Ko-fi, then it sends, I've mapped out all the steps, I've pieced the whole thing together. What it would do is it would create a little visual indicator that a big tip like that is incoming, and after probably a 30 to 60 second delay, then it would actually play an AI video of whatever character I wanted. Trump, Stephen Miller, Scott Bessent, Alex Jones, whomever I could create a little AI video model of reading the tip. Vance, yeah, if I could do a fat JD Vance reading the tip off. So a little video, like little guy pops up, reads the video, or plays a video of him reading the tip, or her, I guess, reading the tip content. That's what I've mapped out all the steps. I know exactly how it would be done, and it's technically possible to do. I have to build the whole thing out and then test it extensively. And then the question is, will all of the steps actually work properly? That was the idea I had a couple of weeks ago. Sat there and, like, based on the programs that I'm using, mapped out each of the individual steps that it would take to actually make that happen. If it would be possible, it would be just so good. Imagine sending a tip and it gets read to you, not just in the voice of Donald Trump, but by the face of Donald Trump or Stephen Miller or whomever else. Might have to do like a little like cartoonized version kind of because of like image rights or something like that. But that's the goal. That's what I'm trying to set up. I'm trying to make that work. And honestly, depending on what it is that's causing the alerts are coming through, but the TTS is not. And I still haven't figured out why it's splitting those, because it's the same audio track. So I don't know why one would come through and the other one wouldn't. But so if everything came through with the video, it basically would either be that it would work or it wouldn't work. And it might bypass that, whatever issue is causing the TTS to not work with this. Testing things extensively is female coded. You know, I would absolutely love it. I would love things to just work the first time as soon as I build it. But no, I am destined to the troubleshooting life.
And there's this show, King Pill, they call it King Pill. Absolutely incredible. One of the best shows, run by a total patriot. They call him Matthew Erickstein, king of the MAGA chuds.
So true, Mr. President. All right. So here is JD Vance providing an update on the Iran talks. This just dropped just before I went live. Or actually, it streamed live 9 hours ago. Someone dropped it in my timeline about just before I went live. So I'm going to hit the Tinkle throne real quick, and you guys watch this.
So look, yesterday was a very, very good day. We made a lot of good progress. We did exactly what we wanted to do, which is accomplish 4 things for the American people. First, we wanted to build a mechanism for keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. It is open. We've seen, of course, gas prices and oil prices come down, millions and millions of barrels of crude and natural gas flowing through the Strait of Hormuz that weren't flowing before. But we also wanted to make sure that we actually set up the coordination mechanism so that we could demine the Straits of Hormuz, so that when there are the conflicts that inevitably come up, we can make sure we work through them rather than that leading to escalation, and that is exactly what we did yesterday. Number 2, we also wanted to build a mechanism, a similar mechanism, for deconfliction for the regional ceasefire. As the President of the United States has himself said, sometimes these ceasefires just mean you're shooting a little bit less, but we wanted to make sure that we had the proper coordination set up so that if there is shooting, if Hezbollah fires at Israel or if Israel responds, if there are other conflicts that arise in the region, we're actually talking to each other and figuring out how to stop the shooting, how to make the region safer, our allies and everybody else. We set that up as well. Number 3, We, and this is probably what we're most excited about as Americans, the Iranians have agreed to invite IAEA inspectors back into their country. That is a major milestone for the American people and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. That's exactly what we asked to happen. We made a
interesting clarification that he made there. He said denuclearizing, and then he corrected himself and said mentioned, because their goal, this reveals that their goal is not the denuclearization of Iran, but that Iran can nuclearize for civilian reasons, but not for military purposes. So Iran agreeing to have IAEA inspectors come in is I think it's definitely seems like a big step forward in this process. And to all the people who have this like default perspective, I was listening to some of the soccer coverage of the World Cup the other day. They were talking about just kind of in general, and they just mentioned in passing something about having just lost a war, and I was like, man, that's so weird. Like people think that people are going through their days believing that the United States just lost a war. Like I'm not even like mad at like, oh, stupid shit lib politics or whatever. I'm just like, this is so bizarre that there's people who literally have incorporated into their worldview, just go throughout their day-to-day life thinking, oh, the United States just lost a war. Why, if Iran had defeated the United States in a war, why would they be engaged in these negotiations and agreeing to have IAEA inspectors come in the first place? Why wouldn't they just be rejecting this completely out of hand?
A lot of great progress on other nuclear talks, and that leads me to the final thing that we wanted to accomplish, which is actually set up the process for the technical negotiations that will follow. Our teams working with the Iranians, the Qataris, and the Pakistanis made great progress yesterday. They will continue to work at the technical level with the teams here in Bergenstock, and then those technical negotiations are going to continue over the weeks and days to come. We wanted to set up a structure for that so that you could have proper political oversight, but obviously, as much as this place is very beautiful, I can't stay here for the next 60 days. I'm about to go back home to the United States, but the technical teams are going to be working with proper oversight to make sure that we're accomplishing the objectives that matter for everybody. So those are the things that we wanted to accomplish. We came here, we did exactly that. The way that I think about it is very simple. We laid a very good foundation for a successful final deal. The final deal is the house. We set the foundation. We haven't built the house, but we've laid a successful foundation to get to a good place for the American people. I think it's important for all of us to appreciate how much was done, but honestly, there is still a lot to do as we continue to make progress on the nuclear talks, on the economic talks, as we continue to demine the straits and ensure that that flow of traffic continues to pick back up. A lot of progress, but still some work to do, and we're very committed to doing exactly that. So with that,
Straight Buster says multiple state officials in Iran were killed. Who knows how much infrastructure destroyed, a military in shambles and drained. But yeah, they definitely won. Right. Like I said in the last episode, I was like, I don't see anybody questioning that those things are true. I mean, like Joaquin Flores is basically the only person I've seen who has questioned whether that fact pattern even holds up, or whether this is, there's a larger kayfabe thing going on where this, actually hasn't happened. But leaving aside him, basically everyone else is like, yeah, Iran, they seem to accept all of those things as true, but they say Iran won anyways. And I'm like, seems very odd. I have a long post here from Matt Forney in just a minute about people having their brains rotted by like war simulation games. But I mean, I will grant that I'm sure that Iranian people, that the Iranian nation is better suited to absorb more pain than the United States. They're used to living in an area where this sort of thing happens more often. Like if the things that were happening in Iran were happening in the United States, it would be a much bigger deal to people who live in the United States. It would be extremely destabilizing and like total like sign of the end times if there were like military leaders being assassinated and like bombings happening all over the place on the mainland United States. Like that sort of thing would be extremely destabilizing the United States. Whereas with Iran, it's a little more, obviously they're not just like used to it or accepting of it, but it's a little bit more normal to them, which means they're willing to exist in a state of military defeat and pretend that they're not in that state much longer than Americans would be were Americans to be put in the same circumstances, if that makes sense. So I could imagine, they're like, oh, they're stiff upper lipping it, or they just don't really have any choice and they're just going to, stubborn Persians are just going to drag it out and keep talking their own bag publicly while they're privately making concessions. But it just blows my mind that there's people who simultaneously recognize, all of this damage has been done to them. Like no damage at all has been done to the United States. The United States has actually increased their control over the global oil market through the process of all of this. And yet somehow the United States won, or the United States lost. To me, it's like the United States clearly has won this military conflict.
With that, I'm happy to take a few questions from guys in the audience. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Did the president's threats yesterday really throw a wrench in negotiations? There were reports that the Iranians walked out at one point. Can you just clarify and tell us what happened?
No, they didn't throw a wrench in the system. The thing with the Iranians, yes, they did threaten to walk out, or at least there were social media threats that they would walk out. But we were negotiating well past 1 a.m. yesterday, so they didn't walk out. And their technical team is still here in Bergenstock working with our technical team, actually, as we speak, though I imagine maybe some of them are taking a break to watch this news conference. But look, what we told the Iranians yesterday is when you guys engage in what us millennials might...
I thought he was going to say there's like stop to watch a World Cup match or something like that. It's unlikely, but there is an outside possibility that the United States and Iran end up playing each other in the World Cup. And I mean, I want it to happen just for the spectacle of it all.
Our technical team, actually, as we speak, though I imagine maybe some of them are taking a break to watch this news conference. But look, what we told the Iranians yesterday is when you guys engage in what us millennials might call trash talk, you can't expect the President of the United States not to respond and not to correct the record. So when they say things that aren't true, the President is going to respond to it. I'm going to respond to it. Americans are going to respond to it. When they make threats that aren't rooted in reality, they have to accept that the President of the United States is actually going to set the record straight. That's all that happened.
Very interesting. So the implication here is exactly what I've been saying here, is that the Iranians are shooting off their mouths. This is typical like Persian bravado, bluster, and at a certain level, this is just kind of basic geopolitical stuff that you got to maintain face publicly, especially with cultures where things like respect and hierarchy and honor and stuff are valued to a greater degree than most Western cultures. So yeah, they're gonna talk shit. But he's like, if you're gonna talk shit like that, he says talk trash, but if you're going to talk shit, like, okay, great. Like, this is part of your whole thing. Like, oh, we're going to, like, talk shit in public and then we're going to play nice in private. But that doesn't mean that we're just going to just sit there and just eat whatever you say. No, if you cross some lines, then we're going to respond in kind. And if you want to say, oh, we're just talking shit in public and then we're going to play ball in private. Okay, well, we're just talking shit in public and we're going to play ball in private. Do you want to play this game? You want to keep doing this? Because when Donald Trump talks shit in public, it sounds like I'm going to send your country back to the Stone Age. And yeah, maybe that makes you kind of squeamish because the United States legitimately could send your country back to the Stone Age if we wanted to. Fortunately for you, we don't want to. But if you want to keep doing this like talk shit in public thing, then we're going to have to keep playing the talk shit in public game with you. Living Dead says it's crazy to watch people that screamed that this was going to be another forever war now turn and get mad that the very not forever war didn't result in regime change. So true. You got to make up your minds.
Happened. So yes, there was a little bit of threatening, there was a little bit of whining, but at the end of the day, the talks continued and we made great progress.
Nuclear inspectors, when do you expect them to be welcomed into Iran? Is there a time frame that you guys are looking at? And also in terms of when we could see this entire conflict end, do you think this can end by the midterm elections?
Well, look, right now the conflict is in a ceasefire, and certainly our hope is that we get to the final deal and a permanent settlement. But right now, I think we made great progress, and we should all celebrate that. In terms of when the nuclear inspectors are going to start, it's funny, we were trying to call some of the inspectors last night around 2 in the morning. As you can expect, not many people were answering their phone at 2 in the morning. I expect that will happen at the minimum this week, but we think even some of those conversations with the inspectors and with the IAEA could happen as soon as today. But I haven't checked in with our team since we made that 2 a.m. phone call to some of those inspectors.
Imagine being an IAEA inspector and getting a phone call at 2 in the morning from JD Vance. He's like, hey, got something for you. Lurch says 50 internet goy bucks tipped earlier. Thank you, sir. I will get that added to the goal. We're getting rather close there. Make sure you guys are signed up over at forum.kingpill.com in case we actually do hit the goal today and we do a drawing. This is for Lurch.
Sorry. Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Did you, going in, expect the Iranians to make Lebanon as much of a linchpin as they ended up doing? And how would you describe the progress on Lebanon? I know Mr. Araghchi said it was very good progress, but what's your characterization of it?
Yeah, I would describe it as very good progress, too. I mean, look, we want a regional ceasefire, right? We want Hezbollah to stop firing at our friends in Israel. We want Israelis to be able to live in peace. We also want to make sure that, when things happen, they don't spiral into a broader escalation. And so we've been, I think, very good at setting up what we're calling a deconfliction mechanism. But what it really is to say that when things happen, the sides are actually talking to one another. Sometimes, you've got a bit of a chicken and egg problem, that you've got a junior guy who fires a drone that didn't have approval from the high command. Okay, of course, Israel has to respond to that. But then sometimes that response, we could actually have a better and more peaceful situation if Israel responds in the context of a conversation that's ongoing between Hezbollah, Lebanon, Israel, and other partners in the region. There really hasn't been a mechanism to have those discussions until basically around 4 p.m. yesterday, Bergenstock time, when we set that up. So what we're trying to do is to say, first of all, Israel and every other nation in the region has the right of self-defense, but we want to make sure that everybody has that right of self-defense in the background where we're talking about how to de-escalate these conflicts rather than spiraling out of control. Sometimes what will happen is that if the conflict spirals out of control, that's worse for everybody's self-defense and worse for everybody's security. So we've actually got the process in place to ensure that that escalation doesn't happen. Now, I will say
it's interesting that there's actually if they're setting up this sort of infrastructure where they have these built-in open lines of communication and an ongoing conversation. It's not just like, oh, we haven't talked in a while, now something's kicking off, hey, let me call you up and try to pick things up fresh. But if they have a continual, ongoing, open lines of communication, that becomes a baseline upon which you can begin to establish more formal things like the Board of Peace, the Abraham Accords, those sorts of things. So there's different levels of diplomacy here. We don't talk to each other at all. We have no capacity of actually directly interfacing with one another. Then we have the ability to contact one another, but we're not actively engaged in conversation on a regular basis. It'd be like level 2. Level 3 would be that we're engaged actively in conversation on a regular basis, but we haven't created like a formal arrangement. Level 4 might be we have the outlines of a broad deal, a broad framework that we've agreed on, sort of like the Memorandum of Understanding. But this is a situation in flux that could either turn worse or it could get better. And then you cross the threshold into we have a negotiated treaty or a formal arrangement that actually obligates both parties to a particular sort of behavior. So there's different levels of diplomacy that they're stepping their way through.
Say you already see the fruits of that. Over the past 24 hours have probably been the most peaceful that we've seen the situation in Lebanon. The previous 24 hours were pretty good. Obviously, there was some shooting about 72 hours ago. So this is a work in progress. But what we've done is actually set up the operation so that we can ensure it doesn't spiral out of control in the future.
Does the U.S. want Israel to withdraw forces from southern Lebanon?
Well, we want Israel's security to be protected, and we also want Lebanon's sovereignty to be protected, and this is going to be an ongoing conversation. The Israelis have been very clear. They do not have territorial intentions on South Lebanon. The reason they feel they have to be there is because they're worried about Hezbollah fighters in South Lebanon firing into Israel. We do believe, of course it's going to require a lot of hard work, that we can get to a place where Lebanon's territorial integrity and sovereignty is protected, Israel's security is protected, and that's going to require some coordination with the Lebanese armed forces, and also it's going to require the Iranians to rein in Hezbollah. That's all the sort of things that we were talking about yesterday. And again, I think that we got much further compared to where we were just 24 hours ago.
He's so good at just answering these questions just on the spot like this, and manages this is infuriating to Israelis to see them and the Lebanese being treated on equal terms. That we need to respect Israeli security. We also need to respect Lebanese territorial sovereignty. Both parties need to come to the table and work things out. And then obviously, it's just taken for granted that Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran. And so we're talking to Iran about they're owning that fact. They're being forced to own the fact that Hezbollah is an Iranian proxy. And when Iran says that actions against Lebanon in response to Hezbollah is a violation of this other ceasefire, they're owning their own role with respect to Hezbollah in that sense then. By coming out and making that declaration, we're going to blow up peace talks with the United States because of something between Israel and Hezbollah, they are basically essentially admitting to their own connection to Hezbollah, which again is obvious, everyone knows it, but they're actually coming out and formally owning it.
Have you spoken with Prime Minister Netanyahu during any of this process at all in the recent days?
Yeah, we were in constant contact with the Israelis yesterday, but also, of course, with the Saudis and the Emiratis and others in the region. We talked to the Lebanese yesterday as well, so we're constantly trying to keep our regional friends updated about this. This is not a deal that the United States is imposing on the region. This is a deal that the region has desperately asked the United States to put in place. Obviously, the headlines have been very focused about what's been going on.
I've said for a while now that when Trump secured all of these trade deals with the Gulf states and secured all of that investment from the Gulf states last year, that part of that was an agreement that the United States was going to play an active role in solving let's say answering the Iranian question, the IQ, you might say.
What's been going on between the United States and Iran, but this region has been a basket case for a very long time. And what the president has set us to do, again, lay the foundation, see if we can get to a permanent peace. If we can't, the president of the United States still has a lot of options to accomplish America's security objectives, but he has certainly committed us to this pathway for now, and we're going to keep on working and seeing what we can accomplish. And then I want to just, before we depart here, I want to say one last thing. I've seen some misreporting about frozen or unfrozen Iranian assets. One of the other things that we wanted to do, and wasn't as high of a priority for us for obvious reasons, but
Ryan Isaac said, dude is so on point. He takes the higher, the techno capital, and unites with the lower, the hillbilly. This is why he's the best option for a king or a sovereign. Yeah. This whole thing is all really good for his establishing his credibility as and like on a personal level, being the one who's responsible for personally calling up heads of state, interfacing with them, talking to them, negotiating with them directly. This is building his portfolio to give him credibility as an executive going forward. And then that he is an S tier communicator. He's not like Trump is an S tier communicator in his own right, in his own way of communicating. JD is extraordinary. He's very charismatic, but he's also very good at code switching. And I'm not saying code switching between like white and black or white and Hispanic or whatever, but between different white subcultures. He's very good at code switching among them and being able to speak to whether it's, like a press corps in Bergenstock or, I'll have a clip here in just a minute with Ross Douthat where he really demonstrates this. But being able to speak to the high and the low and the middle and all different variants of them and be able to engage with them like authentically in a charismatic way where people can tell that he's plugged in, he's listening, he's engaging with them, and he has it's probably a combination of EQ and IQ that allows him he can connect on the nerd level. He can connect on the ground level. He can connect at the more sophisticated pattern noticing level. Like he's very fluent in the different white subcultures as well.
We wanted to make sure that we set up a process where if we ever unfreeze Iranian assets, we can ensure that that money, that Iranian money, goes to help the people of Iran and not to fund terrorism. So Jared Kushner actually came up with a very interesting solution with the Qataris.
This is actually quite brilliant. Shout out to Jared Kushner.
Where basically, again, if there is any frozen Iranian assets that are unfrozen, then we have approval over that process. The Qataris have approval over that process. And then the money would actually go to buy American soy, American corn, and American wheat for the benefit of the Iranian people. And as much as I see some of the press misreporting on this, and of course, buttressed by what the Iranians are saying, or not all Iranians, I want to be clear, there are a lot of Iranians who are telling the truth about what happened yesterday, but you see some social media reporting that gets this wrong. But fundamentally, what Jared and the Qataris and the entire team here in Bergenstock accomplished is, to me, a classic Trump deal, where if Iranian assets are ever unfrozen, they're going to go to make American farmers richer and to feed the Iranian people. That's a very, very good and very classic Trump deal that's great for our people, great for the people of Iran, and fundamentally, again, will contribute to this regional security architecture that we've built and that we're going to work very hard to ensure that it.
So we've built this regional security architecture. It's been American blood and sweat and treasure that has gone into building this forcing all these different nations to actually interface with each other, negotiate, dictate terms, recognizing various different balances of power in the region. So Qatar is well known as of all the Gulf states, the one that probably is the closest to Iran, that has the closest ties to Iran. So if sanctions are going to be released from Iran, then Qatar is going to get say-so in that. And then the things that it's going to be released for is buying American shit. Why? Because we're the ones who are guaranteeing this. This is our payment for services rendered, and it's a test of your good faith. If you genuinely want to be a normal nation that's just integrated into the world economy, and you as the leaders of Iran are just trying to look out for your people and care for and protect your people, then we're happy to provide to you our agricultural product for your people. And we can normalize our relationship on those terms. So now, not only is it a great good faith test for the Iranians, but it also ensures that the United States government, taking this active role in this whole process, as drawn out as it's been, is providing tangible benefit to a core American constituency.
It endures. So from Switzerland, thank you all for
imagine not having the Jews on your side.
Being here. I appreciate the questions and I appreciate the engagement. I'm looking forward to going back home, and we'll certainly keep everybody updated on what happens in the days and weeks to come. Thank you all.
Our guy. So here's this clip of him with Ross Douthat that I was referencing. Listen to this line that he drops on Ross here. This is about 3 minutes long, so there's some meat to this one. But listen to this, talking about JD Vance and his ability to code switch. Check this out.
We could have a longer argument about the economics, but I just want to let's stipulate that the Trump administration has, in some way, a kind of vision of rebuilding the working class that's connected to Christianity.
Was that hard to say? Was that hard to say, Ross?
I'm stipulating for the sake of argument and the fact that you have not given us 3 hours to have this discussion. We're stipulating it. It also seems to me like the administration has distanced itself in different ways from some other sort of obvious expressions of Christian influence on politics. Some of them more sort of liberal coded, some of them more conservative coded.
Like what do you mean?
Like the administration.
Like what do you mean? So the administration has distanced itself from some conservative coded things, even using the terminology of like conservative coded versus liberal coded. This is Ross Douthat adopting the language of younger generations, something being coded. This has now made it into the New York Times podcast. Is things are coded, right wing or left wing, conservative or left wing. So JD is like, okay, so specifically, what are you talking about?
Administration has been more hostile than any prior Republican administration, to say nothing of Democrats, in the last 20 years to the way we do humanitarian aid. It has kept religious conservatives, pro-life organizations.
Oh, speaking of humanitarian aid, yet another right-wing leader, right-wing head of state has been elected in South America. strangely, as soon as USAID was defunded and absorbed into the State Department, suddenly we have this renaissance of right-wing leaders being elected in South America. What could this mean? I happen to be rather partial to the idea of Marco Rubio as the overseer of the southern hemisphere of the American homeland, and J.D. Vance as the overseer of the North, the men of the North and the men of the South, you might say, the Arnorians and the Gondorians. There's also an interesting conversation to be had about if South America is increasingly becoming explicitly, formally, part of the American empire, the American homeland, then the citizenship in the global empire, who gets access, what sort of tiers of citizenry are there, who gets access to the actual northern homeland. So it's like as the borders of the empire are expanding, what does that mean for the constituency within the various components of it? Do citizens of the North get basically unrestricted access to the South, but the South is restricted from the North? Is there equal passage between the North and the South? I don't like the sound of that. But, you go 100, 200 years in the future, and the world could look very different. Who knows what it looks like at that point? This is the sort of scale that when I think about the American empire, I'm thinking on the scale of the American empire is just beginning to emerge, and it's got probably 300 to 500 years worth of sustained staying power as the predominant imperial power. And it'll go through all sorts of different ebbs and flows and vicissitudes and such things over the next 300 to 500 years, but it will be different variants, different expressions of the American empire centered in the American homeland. Part of this, I think, is that the capital of the American empire is going to gradually shift from the Northeast to the Texas Triangle. I think the industrial, the financial, the economic capital of the empire is going to be between Texas and Florida, and it's going to kind of consolidate around the Texas Triangle, particularly as you introduce space, industrialization, and you've got spacecraft going up and down and up and down and up and down, largely coming out of Starbase and the expanse that will grow around that.
Organizations, especially at arm's length, in a way that has led to a lot of criticism.
Texantinople, yes, Slutty Milk. Texantinople. Lord Breezy says SEC dominance will be the political powerhouse. That's right. That's right. There's only one ethnos that will ever compete for SEC dominance. That's how you know where the heart of the empire is.
And then, let's be honest. The tone of the administration is not consistently a Christian tone. There is a tone.
What do you mean by that? The tone of the administration is not consistently Christian? Well, this seems to beg the question of what a Christian tone is.
Tone of aggressive, consistently a Christian tone. There is a tone of aggressive uncharity to people who aren't on board with the administration's policies.
So the implication here is that we must be charitable to those who aren't on board with the administration's policies. Well, now this just begs the question of what charitable means. If people aren't on board with the administration's policies, does that mean that they need to be locked in camps and abused and subjected to horrors and tormented and tortured? Only some. Only some. But if this is the administration elected to represent the people, and they have a corpus of policies that are overwhelmingly supported by the people, then how are we going to define what's a Christian tone to have versus not to have? I believe Arius did repent for his pugilistic tendencies, and yet there was not anything per se unchristian about those tendencies.
So I would describe those as
Nicholas with respect to Arius.
3 areas where the administration has felt functionally post-Christian to me, and I'm curious what you think.
Post-Christian is very interesting. Post-Christian versus anti-Christian. With someone like Douthat, I would assume that there's actually some. He's not going to use these sorts of terms. He's a word cell. He's a New York Times conserva-lib. So if he's saying post-Christian, he's thought about this term and he's deciding to use post-Christian instead of anti-Christian or whatever. So basically, post-Christian. Frankly, I would like to know what he means by post-Christian in this sense. I don't think that JD, at least in this clip, you don't elaborate on exactly what post-Christian means because JD is about to give his answer here. But post-Christian would be something like having like operating within the Christian frame and being aware of the Christian frame, but then like self-consciously stepping outside of it or sidestepping it or something along those lines. Which is an interesting accusation to level vis-a-vis like, anti-Christian or non-Christian. He's saying it's post-Christian.
Well, so on the
me when I have to listen to the New York Times.
And I'm curious what you think.
Well, so on the first point, the third point, but I want to address.
You can work backward.
So on the tone thing, it's very hard to rebut this because it's like fundamentally unfalsifiable. Because for every clip that you could show me,
it's unfalsifiable. There's not very many people in not just political office, but like political media in general that would respond to something like that with, well, the accusation you're presenting to me is really kind of non-falsifiable. So he's able to engage at this higher like philosophical level. He's got to have, I would say he's at least like a, I don't know, 125, 130 IQ, something like that. He's not a midwit. He's clearly more intelligent than your average midwit. Being able to sort of step outside and do this analysis from the outside, kind of. He's like, okay, so let's evaluate your terms here. This thing you're putting forth, there's not really a falsifiable nature to it. So you're actually trying to sucker me into a gotcha conversation. If I try to engage with you on this level, you've presented to me a question that all we're going to do is we're just going to go back and forth clip farming with each other.
Of me or the president or some cabinet secretary saying something that in your view is unchristian, I could show you another few clips of us doing something or saying something that is like very Christian. The nature of...
Big news! Big news. Living Dead says, breaking. Marriage license acquired. We will be wedded in Donald J. Trump's America. Patriot alert. I need the alarm on here. I need like the alert sound on here. We got a major Patriot alert. Living Dead is prepping for marriage. He has secured the license. Sir, congratulations. Many years to you. W is in the chat for a great friend of the show, Living Dead. Keep us posted, sir.
President or some cabinet secretary saying something that in your view is unchristian, I could show you another few clips of us doing something or saying something that is like very Christian. The nature of political communication in the era of mass media is that sometimes people are going to say jokes that are taken out of context. Sometimes people are going to make...
Living Dead says, I trusted the plan and now I will have a wife. See, boys? Model LD here. Trust the plan. The state-appointed goth girlfriend will show up in due time. You must trust the plan. You must be loyal to your God Emperor Donald Trump. And you can be just like our boy LD.
We're going to make mistakes. I'm not saying I make mistakes. I talk about this in the book a little. In my book, Communion, available where books are sold, I talk about the own mistakes that I've made as a Christian leader
there is an
in America.
There is an apology to childless cat ladies. We don't need to get sidetracked by that. Go on.
But you know, my point is, like, I'm not saying we're perfect because we're not. My point is that the tone.
Here's a good lesson for you, LD. Looking at the marriage. Bobby Ballbag says, don't forget to make her think you care about the specifics of the big day. Yes, very important. Very important. You must make her think you care. You must have opinions. If she asks you, you have strong opinions about it. Those opinions can be malleable. Don't tell her that. Don't let her know that. But you must have strong opinions about it. Ninja of Spades says he finally got a license for that Floyd. Trust the plan and you too can have a food license. Autocorrect is abusing Ninja of Spades. Yes. Oi, you got a license for that Floyd? Amy says, don't worry, we already take your retardation into account when we agree to marry you. So true. Where would we be without the Floyds who recognize our retardation and choose to associate with it anyways? God bless them. What was I going to say? It was something that he said here. Hold on.
Cat ladies.
Oh, an apology to the childless cat ladies. Yeah. Sometimes you have to say sorry when you don't mean it. But you just have to say sorry. You just got to do it. You just got to do it for the vibes. You just got to do it for the appearances. Sometimes you just say sorry. You know, the childless cat ladies comment, it was correct. It was true. It was accurate. It's there. You apologizing for it does not remove the truth of the observation. That's already been released into the universe. It costs you nothing to simply apologize and say, yeah, I was being mean when I observed that truth.
We don't need to get sidetracked by that. Go on.
But you know, my point is, like, I'm not saying we're perfect because we're not. My point is that the tone argument is in some ways, I think, people see what they want to see.
Now listen to this. Listen to this line that's upcoming here.
And I also think that tonal arguments are ways of, frankly, policing working class ways of communication and covering them in elite preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Let me play that one more time. Listen to this. Listen to our Chud vice president.
Tonal arguments are people see what they want to see. And I also think that tonal arguments are ways of, frankly, policing working class ways of communication and covering them in elite preferences.
Tonal arguments are ways of policing working class ways of communication and covering them in elite preferences. This nigga obviously went to an Ivy League university. This man can speak the language of the New York Times podcast consumer. Immaculate framing. Yes. Yes. One more time.
Some ways, I think, people see what they want to see. And
watch his face when he says this, too. He knows that he's about to drop a bar. He knows that he just slid that dagger right up underneath the armor and penetrated the heart muscle, just right in there.
And I also think that tonal arguments are ways of, frankly, policing working class ways of communication.
Look at that eye contact. He's like, brother, you're not prepared for this.
And covering them in elite preferences.
Look at Ross. Fuck, man. I was not prepared for this nigga's game. Tonal arguments are ways of policing working class ways of communication and covering them in elite preferences. Look at my Chud advocate. My man is advocating for the Chuds in the language of the worst shit-lib academics. I'm going to take your language and I'm going to weaponize it against you. You're taking working class ways of communication. We talk shit. Working class people talk shit to each other. We're kind of rough around the edges. We use no-no words. We sometimes do a crudity. And I know you elite ivory tower academics get uncomfortable when you hear the chuds talk. But you fancy yourself the protector of the working man. You have contempt for the working man. You hate working class people. You hate the sensibilities of the chud. Your entire worldview is built around trying to figure out a way to give yourself moral permission to eradicate the chud. Spoiler alert. We've got ourselves an advocate.
I also think that tonal arguments are ways of frankly policing working class ways of communication.
I cannot get over that look right there.
And covering them in elite press.
That look too. Fuck. He's like, I know what's coming. I know what's coming.
Working class ways of communication.
Ah! He just broke him in half with his eyes.
And covering them in elite preferences. Like, let me.
Ah! So fucking good. What do the replies say? JD sounds like the most cliched lefty activist, like the statement policing working class ways of communication and covering them in elite preferences could literally be by Chilo Gonzalez about how real New Yorkers hate the police. That's the point. That's the point. He's speaking their language. He knows exactly what he's doing. He chose those words very particularly because those are words that are going to strike directly at the soul of the average, upper class New York Times subscriber who convinced themselves to vote for Zohran Mamdani because it's like the hip white guilt thing to do. And here's JD Vance, the dude you see fat memes of all over the place, who has pictures of him at Xbox LAN parties drinking Mountain Dew, who still proudly drinks Diet Mountain Dew. Using your language to disembowel you. So good. And you'll see, there's going to be people like this who sounds like it's straight from a Plattner defender. The working class is not some sacred cow who are beacons of moral superiority. This has gone straight over the head of so many people. There's so many people who will fixate on the form of that. Oh, he's using the language of the leftists. He must be a leftist. And just completely missing it. Straight Buster says, Trump is the hammer, JD is the scalpel. Yes. Our scalpel.
We could have a longer argument.
So good. So very good. All right, here's a couple of tweets that I'd had queued up for you guys the other day. I'll get into them now. We're less than $100 away from the goal, by the way. So if anybody wants to try out that tips link again, there's still the possibility that somebody can make a little money today. Red Eagle Politics says, of course, the usual suspects will compare any Iran deal to Obama's. It's honestly irrelevant, given how Obama's was set to sunset by now anyways, and solely addressed the 3.5% enrichment cap. Let's wait for the actual framework to come out before we make any comparisons. And Austin Paget, make sure you guys go follow this guy. Ludwig Never Mises. Fantastic poster. He says, aside from the fact that Obama's deal would expire and Trump's includes an indefinite limit on nukes, what matters more than pieces of paper is that Trump blew up Iran's air defense and military infrastructure, which sets back their deterrence timeline by 5 to 10 years. Which is the only thing that matters because conventional deterrence is what gives them room to build a nuke. The other key difference is Trump has turned basically every other Middle Eastern country into an alliance against Iran. and has stated plans for the U.S. to withdraw from the region. This is not a secret. It's been on the White House website for at least a year. See, Lincoln replies. Loyal Labian listeners are well aware of this. Not only that, but now Iran needs our allies for the rebuild, which forces them to actually accept our conditions. By the time Iran recovers, we will have an entirely different Middle East. He says Trump is creating the conditions to enable his explicit plan of withdrawing the U.S. from the Middle East. It's insane many don't realize this, even though it's the world's worst kept secret. Right here. The Middle East, shift burdens, build peace. For half a century at least, American foreign policy has prioritized the Middle East above all other regions. The reasons are obvious. The Middle East was for decades the world's most important supplier of energy, was a prime theater of superpower competition, and was rife with conflict that threatened to spill into the wider world and even to our own shores. Today, at least two of those dynamics no longer hold. Energy supplies have diversified greatly, with the U.S. once again a net energy exporter. Superpower competition has given way to great power jockeying, in which the United States retains the most enviable position, reinforced by President Trump's successful revitalization of our alliances in the Gulf with other Arab partners and with Israel. We also have a clear interest in expanding the Abraham Accords to more nations in the region and to other countries in the Muslim world, but the days in which the Middle East dominated American foreign policy in both long-term planning and day-to-day execution are thankfully over. Not because the Middle East no longer matters, but because it is no longer the constant irritant and potential source of imminent catastrophe that it once was. It is rather emerging as a place of partnership, friendship, and investment, a trend that should be welcomed and encouraged. In fact, President Trump's ability to unite the Arab world at Sharm el-Sheikh in pursuit of peace and normalization will allow the United States to finally prioritize American interests. And it's funny, like, if you didn't know, like, if you didn't have the timeline where your favorite podcaster perpetually pumping Iran news into your feed, would you have any idea that something was happening over there? Like, this isn't like the Gulf Wars where you would have, like, probably known someone who was deployed. I mean, there's some people who know people who are over there, but relatively speaking, there's basically none. And casualties, every single one is bad and it sucks. We don't want to see people die. We don't want to see Americans die, but militaries exist and people die in military conflict. So the actual number of casualties, it's not like there's been so many that it would just flood you and you'd have no way of knowing, oh, there's some big military thing happening over there. No, you would have noticed that, like, gas prices went up for a while and have been like, man, gas prices are getting kind of high. It was really nice how they went down and stayed really, really low for months after Trump was elected. That was great. It was great being able to fill up so cheap. Now things have gotten kind of high for a while, but then, now rolls around and you're like, oh, look at that. The prices are dropping again. Huh. All right. You wouldn't be paying any attention at all. You would have no awareness whatsoever that something was happening in the Middle East. So Iran, this totally unsolvable quagmire, is being solved. It's not happening fast enough for the people who have, like, the attention span of a goldfish, the retards in the room. It's not being solved fast enough for them. But it's having virtually zero impact on your day-to-day life, apart from what you choose to consume on the timeline. I don't think people really appreciate this disjunction, that such a massive problem is being resolved with such minimal impact on the day-to-day lives of Americans. This is performatively demonstrating how the Middle East is no longer going to dominate American foreign policy. The fact that something's happening there, the fact that people have assets, that the United States has assets there, the fact that they're dedicating diplomatic resources to it. I mean, they sent the vice president over there. Obviously, it's a big deal. But it's so much more measured and contained than any time in the past. Now it's just we send the vice president over there and he negotiates these things, sets up the framework, and then goes on to whatever else he was doing. We live in a different world. Matt Forney says, America is Rome. Iran is Carthage, and this was our first Punic War. Here's a nice little historical reference for my nerds out there. I hope Heinz is listening right now. Heinz, are you out there? Let me see if you're in the chat. And it doesn't look like it. Shame. Someone go spam Heinz in the Discord and tell him that we're talking about stuff that'll make him spurg out. Those who are in the Discord know. America is Rome, Iran is Carthage, and this was our first Punic War. People have been brain rotted by paradox games and think a war that doesn't end in total defeat for one side is a loss. They have no conception of a war fought for reasons other than governmental overthrow or territorial gain. The fact that Iran and their proxies have been allowed to flood the internet with straight-up lies isn't helping, and just proves that wartime censorship is justified. Yeah, I've definitely come full circle on that. Fully endorse the idea of wartime censorship. I see now why it's necessary. I've said before that the thing that started changing my mind, plug your ears, Southern brethren. The thing that started to turn my opinion on Abraham Lincoln was learning that he arrested journalists. Iran has been militarily destroyed. They've been proven to be unable to close the strait, which was never closed until the Navy blockaded it. Their power was revealed to be smoke and mirrors, and everyone from Lloyds of London to the retard right was revealed to be cowards in thrall to a pirate state that had its shit funded by the greatest nation in the world. Had its shit ruined by the greatest nation in the world. Little Freudian slip there. Thanks, Obama. To paraphrase
the N-word.
How the hell did these people get an empire? The lifting of sanctions and reconstruction funds will come with strings attached. The funding will come from our Gulf allies and will all be conditioned on Iran opening up its economy to American firms. No more stealth tankers selling oil to China at below market rates. No more funding groups like Hezbollah or the Houthis. No more washing money for the Democrats via mafia agreements like the JCPOA. Iran has been neutered in the same way Saddam Hussein was after the Gulf War and will basically exist at America's mercy going forward. By the way, in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ended the Mexican-American War, we paid Mexico $15 million, about $630 million today, to compensate them for taking 2/5 of their territory. I guess we actually lost that war, huh? Think of that. If Twitter had existed in 1814, we'd have the equivalent of Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly claiming the Treaty of Ghent was a humiliation. But we didn't even get any territory. Not the point. The War of 1812 set the stage for American dominance of the Western Hemisphere by forcing Britain to abandon its hostile stance toward the U.S. They abandoned their forts in the Northwest Territory, stopped supporting Indian insurgents like Tecumseh, and recognized the Louisiana Purchase as rightful American clay. More importantly, in every subsequent border and diplomatic conflict of the 19th century, the British sought peace rather than war. They had achieved their objective in 1812, holding on to Canada, alas, and in every subsequent territorial dispute, they folded to American demands because they knew the cost of war was too high. We had our own treason lobby during the War of 1812 that was openly sucking up to the British in the way the retard right sucks up to Iran, Russia, and China. The New England states opposed the war, Rhode Island continued trading with Britain in violation of a federal embargo, and the Federalists endorsed secession in the Hartford Convention. Unfortunately, most Americans didn't agree with them, and when news of the Treaty of Ghent and Battle of New Orleans reached the East Coast, the Federalists were exposed as cowards and traitors, just like the anti-war retard right is being exposed now. Time is a flat circle, as a great philosopher once said. Much like Britain in 1814, Iran is being forced to abandon its hostile stance toward the U.S. because the cost of fighting us is too high. The fake closure of the strait caused gas prices to go up slightly in the U.S. It caused shortages and pandemonium in Europe and Asia. It resulted in the total destruction of Iran's military, which they will now have to spend decades rebuilding. Iran lost everything, and all they did was mildly inconvenience the American empire, like attacking the AI in AI war too early only to get your ass flattened in 2 minutes. The death of the aged corpse Khamenei set Iranian leadership down an unavoidable path of peace with America on America's terms. I'll note that Remember when Trump just recently talking about the new Ayatollah, the one who is a suspected suspected gay man. He did his Trump thing where he said, there's lots of people who question his credibility or his legitimacy, but actually he's very well respected. He's a prominent, noble man. And this is the sort of thing that Trump will do where when he finds someone that he's willing to work with, who he's been at loggerheads with in the past, he'll actually start talking them up. He'll start pumping them up and amplifying them as the opposition that he actually wants to engage with. Lends his own credibility to him. The First Punic War resulted in Carthage only ceding a small amount of territory to Rome, but it permanently crippled their finances, sparked off a devastating civil war, and resulted in Rome dominating the Mediterranean for centuries. The Second and Third Punic Wars were a fait accompli at that point. America is Rome, Iran is Carthage, and the entire world belongs to us. Austin Padgett said it would be like saying the British lost a conflict because they didn't feel like invading after leveling a port city for trading rights. So true. So true. Matt Forney is kind of a goofy guy, but he has some very good long posts from time to time. All right, I've got a few more things here. I'm gonna talk about some of the fallout from J.D. Vance and Donald Trump saying unfriendly things about Israel. And then I've got a couple other things here that I can get into if we're going to make some more progress toward the goal here. I've got Tulsi Gabbard releasing more documents about Fauci and his culpability in the gain-of-function research at Wuhan. I've also got this video about why we were told to hate Nickelback that we could watch, but that will require hitting the goal in the next few minutes. So, tips.kingpill.com if you would like us to continue, like me to get into all that other stuff. All right, so this was a couple days ago. Shael Ben Ephraim says the Israeli government and IDF have been stunned by the broadside attack by J.D. Vance, especially since they suspect it was made with Trump's approval. Well, of course it was. First, Israel was stunned by the force of it and deliberately swallowed it despite the implied threat of a weapons embargo, but chose not to respond from the gut. The logic, don't widen the rift with Trump and preserve room to hold the red lines in Lebanon. Well, yeah, we'll have more on that here in just a moment. I like how this is cast as, the poor Israelis were just stunned, but they exercised discipline. Yeah, I'm going to read you guys a tweet from Ben Gavir in just a minute. But yes, realize that you've got all these people going around trying to talk about how Trump is owned by Israel. Meanwhile, he and his vice president have been subtly or not so subtly threatening to institute a weapons embargo on Israel if Israel doesn't get their shit together. Number two, Netanyahu stayed silent. The prime minister did not respond to Vance directly. The silence is strategic. Behind closed doors, Vance himself acknowledged the gap, telling reporters that reports of Netanyahu fuming didn't match their conversations, but adding, quote, maybe he's saying something to someone else that he's not saying to me. Number three, Netanyahu is using attack dogs like Ben Gavir and others while remaining quiet. Well, interesting. So, on one hand, we have don't respond from the gut. Don't widen the rift with Trump. Preserve room to hold the red lines in Lebanon. But also, use attack dogs like Ben Gavir. This is what Ben Gavir tweeted. Notice, this post violated the X rules. However, X has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the post to remain accessible. Translated from Hebrew. Ugh. For every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. Georgie!
Adding quantum power to the LQBE.
Could you guys hear that at all? Adding quantum power to the LQBE. You did hear it. Excellent. Miranchuk! He says, just take my money, you beautiful bearded breast man. Thank you, Mirachuk, sir. Appreciate you. The TTS worked. The screen is shared. No idea why. I can't fathom why that would affect anything, because I'm on the same scene. In the past, it would have meant that there was like a scene problem. But I'm on the same scene. I just have a source either hidden or not hidden. Like little peek behind the curtain here. This is, where is it? Yeah, this is the only thing that's happening. Is I just have the source visible or invisible. So I don't know why that would affect the incoming here. But thank you, Jason. Appreciate you, sir. We're almost there. Thank you also to Georgie. Yeah, some of the most insane Fed posting. So he says, for every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. All of Lebanon must burn. I mean, I'm almost concerned that YouTube's going to get angry about me reading this. Please, YouTube. It's newsworthy. With all due respect to the Americans, Israel must make it clear to the entire world that the blood of our sons and the security of our citizens are not forfeit. All of Lebanon must burn. Our supreme duty is to protect the citizens of Israel and the soldiers of the IDF, and this commitment takes precedence over every other consideration. I told the Prime Minister, even in our private meetings, for every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. Enough with the ping pong. In the Middle East, you don't win with measured responses and restraint. You need to go berserk, to obliterate, to crush the terror. Shu says, Israel gets told no once and immediately starts anime antagonist monologuing.
Waiter, more fascism, please.
Translating an Israeli tweet from Hebrew is like discovering a lost page of Mein Kampf.
What is that?
Shut up, Goyim.
So this is what this is Israel choosing not to respond from the gut. Imagine if they'd chosen to respond from the gut. Imagine what that would be like. So Netanyahu is using attack dogs like Ben Gvir and others while remaining quiet. Meanwhile, Vance is telling Netanyahu to rein in his ministers, that it won't pass quietly, and is embarrassing him on purpose. The same treatment he handed the Europeans, the Germans, and NATO. Done with a scalpel, of course. It reflects the worldview of the now dominant wing of the GOP, with outreach budgets shifting toward evangelicals because Israel is losing even them. Number 4, Ben Gvir answered with a Nazi analogy. He was one of only 2 ministers to respond publicly, posting in English on X directly at Vance, saying, quote, "This is the proposal, to deal with the Nazis of the 21st century, just as the United States dealt with the Nazis of the 20th century." We are perpetually living in 1943. The Likud minister got in on it too. Miki Zohar countered on the value to America argument. The Likud culture minister was first to respond to Vance's remarks, leaning on the partnership's worth to Washington, paraphrased from Inet. The intelligence Israel provides the U.S. has saved countless American lives. Israeli technology serves the U.S. military before anyone else.
Homos!
Thank you, Nevsky, for the gifted sub. Emperor Trades, the Patriot, getting a sub. And the partnership matters to the free world, a line few in America are buying. So true. So true. Few in America are buying this idea that the Israeli partnership matters to the free world. And this is this reality that Americans are increasingly developing Israel fatigue is being motivated by the Trump administration. If you can't see that, I don't know what I genuinely question your sentience. It cultivated Israel fatigue, yes. Number 6, outside the cabinet, the anger ran hotter than the ministers led on. While ministers avoided hitting Trump and Netanyahu by name, angry reactions were recorded both by opposition and right-wing figures, with journalists close to Netanyahu lashing out at Trump. Vance's comments hit Israel like a nuclear weapon.
Kaboom.
JD Vance is nuking Israel, and you're blackpilling? They're the first time I can see that the feeling that the U.S. is truly turning on Israel has entered the mainstream zeitgeist. This will boil over if this is a one-off comment, but if this is a real change in Trump policy, Israel will be forced to reevaluate. It is imperative that the Trump administration continue this. Laura Rosen says, I think it is not really turning on Israel. I think more it is frustration that has been in place for a while and probably expressed privately that Trump now expressing publicly but carefully, and agree with your sense that Vance has also seemingly has Trump's permission to express in order to try to tamp down volume Israeli criticism, even possible campaign against deal like U.S. saw in 2015. And the OP, Shael Ben Ephraim, says that's quite possible, but Israelis seem to be worried that it's a lot more. Did anyone tell Ben Gvir that he's the Nazi of the 21st century? Shael Ben Ephraim says, I volunteer. An anti-Netanyahu Jew, Israeli. I don't know if he's Israeli. He says he's a proud Jew. Work featured on Al Jazeera and New York Times. See, the guy writes for Al Jazeera and New York Times, focusing on humanitarian issues. He's anti-Netanyahu. So, for some people, just knowing that he's anti-Netanyahu, they'll be like, oh yeah, base Jew. No, we've already got our own base Jew. We don't need another one.
Never listen to a panickin.
Okay, then what else did I have here? Oh yeah, Tulsi Gabbard. Today, on my final day, Living Dead!
I have been gravely derelict in my tipping duties. I was born for a state QRM and a calm does not suit me, AJ.
Welcome to the suck, homos!
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you, Living Dead. I was born for an STQRM. STQRM! And thank you, Bobby Ballbags, for the gifted sub. Trust Plansar, you can use the emojis now. Let's see, where are we at? How much more? I'll give you guys a little... we are $61 away. $61 gets us to the goal, and someone will win some dollars in the form of a digital gift card. Make sure you go to forum.kingpill.com. Sign up over there. No purchase necessary. All you got to do is give me your name, something to call you, some way to contact you. Emperor Atreides, thank you for the gifted sub. We're a little closer. Tulsi Gabbard, today on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, on Juneteenth, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents exposing how Dr. Fauci provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab, worked with politicized elements within the intelligence communities to suppress the truth about his actions and hide the virus's lab leak origins, and lied to Congress while under oath in 2024. It's time you know the truth.
Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final...
Once again, I have to say that gain of function is probably one of the most Orwellian terms that we've ever. I mean, even saying something's Orwellian, and I'm tired of hearing about Orwell, but you know what I mean. One of these euphemisms that people just sort of casually throw around. When you think about what gain of function research means, it's literally building biological weapons. You're developing biological weapons. That's what it is. Gain of function research is developing biological weapons.
Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents that expose exactly how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19 and how Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when under oath he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. We also received...
Now, to be clear, I don't think that Fauci's ever going to be prosecuted. I mean, I would love to see it happen, but it would require some major changes on presidential pardon powers that I don't know if that's really a road that you want to go down as someone who wields presidential pardon powers yourself, because he was pardoned for this. And you could talk about the auto pen and all of that, but that's kind of a, there's the potential for that to backfire if you decide that you want to really challenge the legitimacy of a presidential pardon on the basis that it was done via auto pen. I suppose you could do it if you really wanted to, but I don't necessarily know that actually being able to formally prosecute Fauci on that basis would be worth calling into question, starting to what would you say, like consolidate around the presidential pardon powers like that, starting to draw in their expanse, because you want to retain that ability for yourself as well. So I kind of just don't think that Fauci's ever going to be prosecuted. I think people are just going to accept that he was pardoned and that it was an illegitimate pardon. But there's a propaganda war to win here, and there's the possibility that other people who were complicit in this can be pardoned, and you just make a big stink out of the fact that, oh no, can't pardon Fauci because he was, or can't prosecute Fauci because he was pardoned and it was an illegitimate pardon, and he's going to go to his grave being prosecuted in the court of public opinion, and you just allow the auto pen pardon to stand because it'd be kind of maybe potentially a Pyrrhic victory to try to undermine presidential pardon power just to go after Fauci.
Received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins, once again revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth. Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume 3 key roles that shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to Big Pharma and their pursuit of universal vaccines worth trillions of dollars. Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars, all of this in a deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions.
Miranchuk over on YouTube said, during the Soviet glasnost, Gorbachev released files and proof of Stalin's Gulag archipelago. The clearing of the lies and admitting the historical truth is important for the people to move on. Yeah, I think that's a good parallel. Politically Catholic says, prosecute Fauci. We will never need pardons ever again because the Dems will never win again. I mean, I'm not opposed to it in principle. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to happen, just because of the potential, Pandora's box that could be opened by that. Kate says, the thing is, though, Fauci wasn't even charged with the crime when the pardon was issued. Wouldn't that be sort of a pre-charge pardon, be worth challenging or no? I don't think so. I think, like in theory, as Straight Buster says, Trump has a failsafe for pardoning his administration preemptively right now, worst case scenario. And you do need to, you have to keep the worst case scenarios in mind. You know, what's the benefit of Fauci being pardoned? Like what, I mean, apart from the, you know, setting a precedent and like, it feels really gratifying and whatever, like at the very least, and you could say Democrats would not care one whit about a pardon, and they would totally go after it and challenge it. But like at that point, you're already dealing with essentially a popularity argument. The extent to which people at every single level of power who play some sort of role in it decide that they're going to cooperate versus not cooperate, and you're really just adding up, you know, things in the helps us versus doesn't help us column. So, you know, if you're talking like a worst case scenario where a Democrat is going to be elected and Trump needs to be able to protect his own people, he can issue pardons in the same way. And for plenty of people, it's going to be compelling. They're going to be like, well, Biden pardoned these people preemptively. And here we've spent the last 4 years delineating how all of these pardons were totally illegitimate and these people are total crooks. And moving forward in the next administration, all of these people are pardoned. Like it's just you're just in a dogfight at that point. So it's kind of like you're adding up whatever helps you versus whatever doesn't help you. And I don't think that prosecuting Fauci and undermining presidential pardon power is going to translate to in that sort of an event, in that sort of a worst case scenario event. It's not like, oh, because we prosecuted Fauci, now we are shielded from weaponized prosecution against us. I'm thinking that it actually advances that cause. So it ends up being actually prosecuting Fauci becomes really just kind of a moral victory. As Kate says, the people who followed Fauci, however, are open season. That might not be satisfying enough for people who are wrong, but it's the best we can get under those corrupt conditions. I think that's kind of how it is. They can force Fauci to testify since they can't charge him and charge him if he refuses or lies. Now, that is another thing. Yeah. That I believe he could be forced to testify, and then if he perjures himself, then his pardon does not cover him against future crimes. So if he was to perjure himself or something like that, then they could absolutely pardon him for that. My suspicion is that it's more likely that he would die before something like that would happen.
Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit, and he publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available. Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives. Now, Fauci didn't stop there. He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. Now, we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation, marginalization, and many suffered career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after coming forward to ODNI as a whistleblower. Another example, those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers that leadership would determine which analysts would be promoted and which would not.
Thank you, Emperor Atreides.
The message was clear. Go along or be punished. Senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward.
I have to make an admission here. In the King Pill Discord, we have a channel called the Bell Tower, where we have there's a number of different Patriot channels that we have alerts for. So every time someone posts an episode on YouTube or something like that, we get an alert. And I just this pained me, but I just removed Tucker Carlson from it. I hate it. Really hate to see what he's become. But after the 6 millionth consecutive video about Israel, we just get another one. Origins of Christian Zionism and how it corrupted American Christian. Okay. All right. Like, I realize you have your new shiny toy. Can you talk about anything interesting? No? All right. Yeah. GIF of black guy tearfully raising gun. That's literally me. I'm literally the old Yeller kid right now. Tucker, I'm not happy about this. But we have to make room for John Doyle notifications and Rich Does Politics notifications and Tommy's podcast notifications. There's another one that I removed too. I'm not going to say it publicly, but maybe somebody will pick up on it, figure it out. Yeah, new John tent just dropped.
Forward with
we've got $55 left to go to hit the goal. I'm going to read an article right after this. It's short, brief article submitted by a great patriot. Just posted it in the King Pill Discord just a few minutes before I went live. I'm going to read that as soon as this video is done. And if we get that extra $55, then we'll also watch the video on Nickelback. It's this one here. Why we were told to hate Nickelback. So you guys have maybe 10 minutes to get us to the goal if you guys want the Nickelback video.
Undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. Now, after years of lies and censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability.
She is set QRM from the Q-Men.
What was that? I missed the name on that one. De Quantum Kumquat. Yeah, she is storm maxing, isn't she?
Used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to the vital facts he needed to keep the country safe. It's time you know the truth.
Yeah, and I saw that there was a hit going out on her just recently about her being part of some cult or something like that, and the timing is quite coincidental. Just so happens that right as she's leaving, she's leaving office. She's not going to be in the position anymore. Now we're going to get some sort of hit about how she's been doing the work of some kind of cult or something along those lines. Yeah, thank you for that. Of course, look at the guy who's really on top of things. Oh, wow, thank you, Thomas Massey. Hey, Grok, is this true? Rock, is this true? Rock, tell me. Did President Trump give Fauci a prestigious medal for his service during COVID near the end of Trump's first term? Thomas Massey is acting no different than an Indian. So true, Slutty Milk. What's the purpose of this? Why? What does this accomplish? Thomas Massey is too intelligent to be this politically illiterate. Therefore, it's obvious that this is nothing but bad faith. I keep seeing this guy. Dubstep deplorable. Titty boy for you. What a patriot. Only a patriot would be named Titty Boy for You and would be just dropping absolute heaters in the replies of all these tweets. Look at this. Look at this. This is my politics right here. This is all I need to see. Boom. Tulsi Gabbard is taking them all down on the way out. Last window, maximum impact. No more cover-ups. Perfect. Perfect for sharing with your politically curious family members. Nice little graphic. It's got all the right touches on it. Thank you, Titty Boy, for you. What a patriot. Would that all of us truced as well as Titty Boy for you. Mir Chuck says Massey has the concussed MMA vote locked down. No kidding. No kidding. If you have a concussion, boy, do I ever have a politician for you. All right, now this is from longtime friend of the show, great patriot, Mark Metz. markmetz.substack.com. Emerging narratives. 250 years of independence, and not many seem to care. As the 250th anniversary of our independence approaches, there's been talk about a lack of enthusiasm. Nobody seems to care. Is this surprising? While certainly a slow burn in arriving here, the last 10 to 20 years have felt like a crash course in why you should hate America, especially its beginning, and the men involved. The culprits have been lamented over ad nauseum. Universities, media, popular culture at large, mass immigration, see below. Curtis Yarvin, I'm looking at you. Why you should hate America, especially its beginning and the men involved. It's a wonder that anyone's excited about the anniversary. For many reasons, we're blessed that Trump won in 2024, one of those being that his administration is in charge of creating a 250th anniversary spectacle and not Kamala's. Can you imagine? Oh my God. Oh! I just sat with that for a minute. To everybody who's complained about seeing an octagon in the front yard of the White House, to everyone who's complained about money spent on making the reflecting pool actually be a pool that reflects, to every single one of you, just sit and contemplate for a few moments what it would have been like had Kamala Harris been elected president and had we been celebrating the 250th anniversary due or under Kamala Harris. We're on the good timeline, boys. Losers on mainly the left, but some on the right, think it's hip to dismiss the founding as fake and exaggerated, an impulse that comes across as quite lame. When digging further into this impulse, especially as it pertains to the detractors on the right, you'll notice that their ancestors coming to America came long after the founding generation. Recall, mass immigration as a culprit. But one piece of lore that does kind of feel too good to be true is the renewal of Thomas Jefferson's friendship with John Adams. As both were nearing the end of their lives, over a years-long correspondence of letters, they rekindled a friendship that had begun in the 1770s, one that led to the Declaration of Independence, but then fell apart as the 18th century came to a close and the divide between the Federalists and Jeffersonian Republicans ever widened. What makes this reunion seem so mythological is that both men died on July 4th, 1826. You read that right. Two of the most important figures of the founding, including the primary writer of the Declaration of Independence, died on the 50th anniversary of the Declaration. It's said that as John Adams was dying, he claimed, Thomas Jefferson lives. In reality, this was not true. Jefferson had died just hours before. But this is where reality and myth can become one. You might even say that the ritual and reality are one. America was still alive. Therefore, Jefferson, responsible for one of its greatest sparks, the Declaration, was too. At one point during their correspondence, Adams, perhaps prophetically, posed this question: who can tell the true story of the American Revolution? He doubted that it could ever be portrayed correctly. He was right. We don't tell the story particularly well now, and even its numerous tellings in the early years of the American Republic can't seem to settle on one cohesive narrative, leading people to a conclusion of dismissal. But to come to such a conclusion is to reject a fundamental creative truth. The building of something great requires the work of often hyper-focused, sometimes hyper-frenzied, strong-willed men who, when asked what it was like to be a part of something like that, can only respond with, well, you kind of had to be there. It's doubtful that in less than 2 weeks an explosion of excitement will ensue. Sure, we're going to see an increase in red, white, and blue. Trump is going to amp up the spectacle, as he should. And the 4th of July might seem a lot cooler than it has in recent years. But then summer is going to persist and not much national reflection is going to be had. While that sounds depressing, it should be used as motivation. Presently, there is a lot of decay, which means new foundations must be built, ones that cannot be replicas of the ones built in 1776 and 1787. Those days are gone, and while they must be respected and revered, they cannot be resurrected. What is required, however, are the same type of men to construct the rebuild. Hyper-focused, hyper-frenzied, strong-willed men who years from now can say, you just had to be there. Thank you for the gifted sub, Bobby Ballbags. That's pushed us. Where are we at? $50 away. We have $50. $50 away from someone, some lucky fella, making $50 today. I've run out of things. I've run out of things apart from the Nickelback video. Why we were told to hate Nickelback. But perhaps we're just going to have to save that one for tomorrow. There is a France and Iraq are playing right now. Looks like there's a weather delay. Thunder and lightning. France is up 1-0. Mbappe scored again. Mbappe. Earlier, Argentina beat Austria. There's some World War II implications for you. Argentina, 2-0 versus Austria. Messi with 2 more goals. Good grief. He is inevitable. Looks like it wasn't particularly close. We've got the second half of the France-Iraq game tonight. Norway and Senegal. That should be a really good game. If you want to see a Viking, watch the Norway-Senegal game. It's at 7 p.m. Central tonight. Erling Haaland is a freak. Big connoisseur of raw milk, organ meat, red light therapy. A true patriot. Even if he is Norwegian, we will grant him. We will grant him patriot status. Lurch says Argentina and Austria is a great game. I would imagine those would be some good styles contrasting one another. And then late tonight, nobody is going to watch Jordan play Algeria. Nobody cares about that. 63rd ranked team versus the 28th ranked team. All right, well, I vamped for a little bit to see if something was going to come through, but it appears that we have bottomed out. Viewership has held up throughout the stream. I like that. It's good to see. Starting to rebuild the audience over on YouTube. Apologies for the video that was taken down last week. I got the UFC clips clipped out. So it should be uploaded again. If you guys haven't watched it, you can go back and watch that. And please do follow me on X at KingPilled. Go join the KingPilled Discord, kingpilled.com. And if you're going to be in the Dallas or Fort Worth area on Thursday, or you'd like to be in the Dallas or Fort Worth area, I will be driving up there to meet up with anyone who wants to come hang out with us. Just shoot me a DM on X at KingPilled or an email, realkingpilled@gmail.com. If you guys have hit me up, I will be letting you know exactly where I'll be meeting with you. It'll probably be around 4 or 5 p.m., somewhere in the downtown area of Fort Worth. I'll be meeting up with Tom Luongo's little meetup that he's doing with some of his paying subscribers at a barbecue place. And they're going to like a cigar lounge, I think. Probably go find some. There's a U.S. game that's going to be at 9 p.m. that night, so we'll probably go find a place to watch that. Hang out with you guys. Drink some brews. Consume some nicotine products. Exchange words. Press the flesh. Be good to meet up with all of you guys. So hit me up if you'd like to join us for that. And otherwise, make sure you follow the Telegram channel for alerts so you know when I'm going to go live. t.me/kingpilled. Download the EWBSX app. Get yourself some EWBSX bangers each day. And please make sure, no matter where you're consuming this show now, please make sure you go over to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Like the videos. Share them. Even if you just hit the share button, don't actually share. Just tell the algorithm you were thinking about sharing it. And trick it into thinking that you like the content. And to help us get some traction going on that show. And I will be back for the next Lab with whatever else I come up with between now and then. Thank you, everyone, for all of your contributions tonight in the chat, financially contributing to the Erickson cause, and sharing the show, all those such things. I love every single one of you. I'm very blessed that I get to do this for a living. I depend upon you guys, but it is I can't complain. I can't complain. There's uncertainty, financial uncertainty, always, perpetually, but it is a blessing. The show is everything, and I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So I will be back for the next Lab. Until then, I leave you with Hulk.
When they took a shot at my hero, and they tried to kill the next President of the United States, enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let